Breno's at the big desk.
Hey guys, 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon as we continue to march back to the upside here. Good to see you for the overall market. If you were with us early on this morning, I was mentioning we got to get Apple turned around, heading in the right direction here if the overall market was going to have a nice day. Still not the case, but anyways, market is grinding to the high side. As you can see, a lot of green on this board. Outside of what Apple is doing on its own, back to the downside, including Google with a really nice day, 2.5%, 1.6 there for Amazon in positive territory. These two as well having a pretty good day for both Meta and Oracle, a full percent or more back to the upside. There is some negativity here. Adobe downside ever so slightly. Salesforce was red. Looks like it's since gone green, back higher by 0.16. Just a measly -0.04 there for Nvidia. AMD, however, is higher, along with Broadcom, 1%, in fact, to the upside. So a nice day. Retailers are strong, as I was mentioning early on this morning. Same story for industrial stocks. Caterpillar just continues to go. 1.5% coming off that earnings from last week. That was better than expected. J&J, Eli Lilly, Merck, AbbVie, all 2+% in positive territory. UNH also 2%. Tesla, ouch, kind of a day, 2.4% to the downside with the new CFO. The headline this morning seemed a little bit odd as far as not only timing, but the reaction to that. Typically, a company announces a new CFO. The market kind of shrugs it off and continues. Here we go. Here are the cues, just taking out the highs, as the guys were saying there, as we came on at 2 o'clock. But overall, still within this range from Friday. It was a very, very wide range. If you remember, we sold off very heavily all afternoon long, basically ending the day down here at the lows before heading into the weekend. So that low gets tested. And here we are right back to pre-market highs now for the overall market. A couple of reasons why. Earnings not great from the Apple and AMDs of the world. The employment data that we got back on Friday, if you remember, non-farm payrolls, lower than expected, but it was the case of lower than expected significantly for the first time. And the market seemed a little confused by that and didn't really know what to do. So we'll talk a little bit about what that means going forward. Remember, CPI coming up on Thursday, PPI for July on Friday then. So key inflation readings to come this week. There's still, as of last check anyways, about a 60% chance that we get another quarter-point hike before the end of the year. I just touched base with Miss Danielle Shea. She's going to come by around 3 o'clock, about an hour from now, and talk about the big tech names and what she is calling a fangover, guys.
I mean,
Fangover.
she wins again.
That
I mean,
is.
how did she come up with that stuff?
You know what?
Fangover.
I've actually. That's
What am I
really,
talking about
really
now?
cool. I have to give up. That's a lot of credit for that because.
Well,
but it's not.
I want to know
Fang.
what she means by it, because there's some FANG stocks starting to head up to the upside here.
Well, I think it's more just that you're starting to see signs of weakness. But,
course.
but the problem is Fang's not the thing anymore because it's the Magnificent Seven. So that's the only.
Yeah, I mean, you want to
Because if you
still
say FANG-
include Netflix, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know what you can do? Actually, if you wanted to still use Fang, you just replace Netflix with Nvidia. And then you can still use Fang.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
just don't have Microsoft at that point.
Yep, yep.
So you go, yeah, that actually works.
And you got to use the G. Got to be Google, not Alphabet, because that's what the
Well,
Amazon.
yeah.
There's 2 A's in the FANG, I think. Anyway.
No, because you can still have
So long.
Amazon and Apple. You can have Amazon, Apple. You can work Google in there with the G, and then you can. I don't know why we're doing this, but and it can be Nvidia. You're just missing.
But
Microsoft.
what's the F? Ford. All right.
Well, yeah,
we just got out of our Apple
it's
because
tough.
Meta, right? It's Mang. What's up, Mang?
Mang.
Mang? I don't know.
Oh boy, we have a
Man,
friend
we're so
who says
dumb.
that
I
all
mean,
the
it's
time.
2 o'clock now. I'm starting to get some jet lag right now, but welcome back to the show. I just got out of Apple, man. We took a 450 winner.
happened to the other
We had
desktop?
Amazon from the bottom. Sharif's mic is hot right now. But we do have a couple good trade ideas coming through. What a great bottom in Tesla earlier on. Today, down on the downside.
Just one thing here, because this is like
Here's
happening.
my Apple.
If Rivian's breaking VWAP, and I just got into this one, my stop is underneath 24.10. But it made that bottom hold, the wick bottom hold, and I like this one for strength if it can break. But this one, it could stop out in the next couple of minutes, and I don't know when we're going to get to it. So I just wanted to quickly say that I just got into Rivian here off of VWAP. I don't want to give it too much room because it's down 4% and being pretty weak. So I doubt we talk about this. Tesla, obviously on a run as well. But the newest position for me was just seconds ago. I didn't think Rivian wasn't even going to pull back because the market wasn't doing much.
Anyway. All right. Fang over, you like that?
Sure. I don't know what we were doing.
Instead of hangover, fang over for the overall market. Speaking of big tech, here's Amazon. It was top of the list this morning. We were discussing big move on Friday coming off earnings. Ton of analysts talking positively about this again this morning. And lo and behold, here we are back to session highs.
Yeah, during the midday too, we got the update of when they were going to meet with the FTC. We know that they were probed by the Trump administration that continued into the Biden administration with the FTC. So we'll find out exactly how that plays out in the next couple of days.
Nice look anyways, guys. 2 days in a row here, back higher for Amazon.
Look, Amazon was the number one name here on the sticky note. It is, well, Apple's my number one P&L trade here, but Amazon was an absolute monster. And I think that I just, even though I wasn't here all last week, it just remains the same thing. And I talked about this earlier. And that is that you want to trade names that have a high probability of winning in the direction in which it's setting up. And we just waited for Amazon to get into the long down here, and we let it drip all the way down. We saw 139. It bounced off there a couple times before. That was a mistake. We got in and out of that. We talked about that earlier when we had the wrong price. Then it came back in, so lose nothing there. Came back in. We've already sort of seen this 139. It was the bottom there in the close from Friday. So when it came back in, we hit it, took it, hit it again, took it, and then we just got out right there once it broke the 50 period. And I said to myself, I was just going to watch this go all the way up because we were really waiting for this level right here, again, 140.80, because we missed it this time. We got long down here a couple times down at 139. Then when it kept breaking higher, we just got out. We got out at VWAP. We got out at the 50 period. I mean, these were dollars in the money, you know, and then when we weren't sure of the direction of today, because the open of the market was pretty shady. It was just up and down, hit the high, hit the low, and then kind of wound up in the middle. So we weren't sure. When it came back down, I missed this reload. It was right at 11 o'clock, right when we stopped the show. Went called the wife. I was down here. I missed it by 4 pennies. I was at 139.11 again. Missed it. It comes down to 16s. Then rips all the way to the upside. We got out finally when there was some antitrust news there, FTC coming through. We talked about that a little bit. Breaking through 142, we wound up getting out. So 139 up to 142. It was yet again another member of this club, and Amazon just continues to be strong. And what I put on the sticky note was this level, 136. If we ever got any dip buy opportunities into there, then we really wanted to go hard. But we didn't get that, so we had to take 139. And when you're talking about risk versus reward, man, I mean, my out is like 138.90, let's say. So when you're taking some of these fills, it's 30, 40 cents. So you get a little piece out for that, then you hold something for the victory lap. That's how I'm trading. That's Amazon today, another successful trade for us. We'll still be on this name tomorrow for the long.
Yeah, I mean, I only had the 139 level on Amazon. It didn't really set up at 42 like I would have expected at the open. If it would have broken 140, if the market goes up, I was taking a break at 9:30. If it took out 142, but it came to the downside, 39 was your level from Friday. It played right into the end of a downtrend. I tend to usually get out at VWAP when that happens, when it's showing me a bit of a downtrend, and then that was pretty much it. 142, just to come back to the, not the daily chart, we'll go to the 15-minute. 142 was where things fell apart in the afternoon on Friday, so it's turning into some resistance here. It probably has to hold. I mean, if the market breaks back out, that's what I would rather happen. Just to give you an idea, let's look at the NASDAQ for a second. If you look at that 15.5, which has been a bit of a pivot area, if the market breaks out from here, I think the long above 142 is more exciting on Amazon. But if we never get through that, I can't see Amazon taking out the top. Ideally, if we get above 15.5 and start rallying, then I want to be involved in an Amazon long above 142. I just don't want to rush into the long while the market is still holding resistance at this top. So it looks good. It's still relatively strong. I think chasing away from 39 isn't necessary. There's a lot of strong names out there. I mean, Google's an example. I thought Meta was really strong, and then it did that weird thing at 317. But there's a lot of names out there that are showing you some strength. We get above 15.5 in the NASDAQ. It's just one of many places that you could really take out the top, because 146 on the daily after earnings is the next stop.
Oh, you can. Yeah, it is. It's much more noticeable now. Mm-hmm. We've increased the speed at which the camera is panning. Anyways, looks kind of cool. Palantir, a ton of earnings still to come this week. We'll touch on Palantir a number of times here throughout the afternoon. Ms. Shea has some thoughts, I've been told, about Palantir. Here's what we were discussing this morning ahead of earnings after the close tonight. A number of positive notes, including the one that we referred to going back a couple of weeks ago from Mr. Dan Ives.
Yeah, calling it the Messi of AI. We'll see. He has a price target of $25. We'll see if they actually meet that expectation today after the bell, Brendo. We know that they've been acquiring new commercial contracts in addition to the government ones that they already had.
It's a sell into earnings if you look at the chart, though, guys.
Clean break of 18. If you got a fill there, obviously. I mean, I was kind of focused on Nikola at the open as a short trade, but Palantir might have been just as good with that 18 break. But we waited for 17.20 and let it get down to 17.20 before looking for a long. It broke that and held exactly at 17.01 on the way back up. I was able to get something off the low and then added when it got to 20. And we're just sort of sitting in this. It did not get past 1780, so it's in a flag formation. If it breaks this, like 1760 here, I trail it out, or maybe we make a run back at the 18 even. As far as the earnings go, it would feel to me, like given what happened at 20 last week, I think it would have to be pretty spectacular to get through that price. The amount of selling that was being done at 20 was impressive, to say the least. Like, it was just a lot of selling being done up there, and it didn't get, I got zero impression that it was done when it left that price. Like, there were people putting size offers. Every time it got above 20, there were people just selling the living crap out of it. So if it gets up there, I think it has a little bit of trouble getting through. So we'll see what happens with Palantir tomorrow. We trade after the bell, who knows? You could be gapping in like 10% in either direction, and then you have to go from there. For this afternoon, I'd love to see an 18 break. That would be great. If it breaks out 1780, I think I'd probably try to look for some longs on the way to 18. But my trail currently is underneath VWAP here on Palantir.
Look, we did pretty good today, what we thought on Palantir. I mean, I still think it's worth being. I mean, I like the fact you're still holding something there into the close. Well, we'll see if it's going to hold up into the close. But I just feel like, again, there's going to be some FOMO on this name if they do guide a little bit higher and come out with something. Then you're going to look at that 20 level, as Neil mentioned. I wasn't there when it bounced off of it, but it was pretty clean. It went up to, what, 20.35? Something like that as the high. We just did exactly what we thought we'd do here today. And that was let it drop down. I showed you the nasty wick from the other day here. Not wick, but this first half-hour move to the downside there. Didn't start bouncing till about 10 o'clock, so we did the same thing today. This is exactly 10:30, came in, gave us that bottom right there. That probably would have been the first trade at 10 o'clock. Back in, came back right to the same levels of 80. We bought 1750 again, got out, got rid of the last 20% or so once it broke lower. So we're up on Palantir today. We did not, again, like as soon as 11 o'clock hit, man, I scrammed out of here for a bit, but that was a great call there. Bounces off 17. So, you know, just to be able to hold that would have been fantastic. Take the 17 long, and now you're laughing. Probably barcoding into the close. I feel like if you do get some big option sweepers come through, that's when you'll probably get this to move. Like, what if someone sweeps the 20 book for options? Then you'll probably get some buys just in case to cover that position from those that are writing it. So I could feel like you could swipe up a little bit here. I don't think people will. I mean, I don't know. We can find the option chain for it all and see where the real volume is coming off at. But I just feel like down 3% today might be a good opportunity to take a swing at Palantir. Again, if they mention AI, which obviously they're going to, they've been mentioning AI since AI was not even AI has been a thing for a long time, but that's sort of been their thing, big data, AI. So let's hear what they have to say. I'm not super excited about all the contracts that they're going to announce. I'm more excited for what they talk about for the future. Are they expecting to get, like renewed contracts? Are they looking at new contracts? Where are they for some of their projections? They just turned positive last month or last quarter, and then they were talking about being forever EBITDA positive moving forward. So let's see if they can hold truth to what they were talking about. I'm excited for Palantir. We're already shareholders of this name, so I don't think we'll be adding more to these positions. It's kind of just doing nothing right now. If you did dip down into that 15 area tomorrow, maybe that's going to be a buy spot for Palantir. But hey, it's earnings season. It's a big name. And for me, we're already off that bottom of 7 or 8, right? We were talking about that. That's where we added. It's like DraftKings. When I said you may not get a better opportunity than that $11 mark, it's the same thing here for Palantir. You could wait for these ultimate bottoms, but this name's really been on one over the last couple months. And there it is, that 20 nice pullback. I want to hear what Daniel Shea has to say, because Brendan said maybe it looks a little bit better for a pullback in on earnings. I actually think you're just running into where there's some support here. So let's see if maybe it gets down here into 1650 or something, maybe on a bad print, then we can go upside. We've seen stock get hit on earnings and then make it all back during the day. So let's see what happens here. It's just one phone call away from Aunt Kathy, and this name goes to $20.
Yeah, we'll see what she does tomorrow when, what is it, kathysark.com posts all of her trades from the prior days and sessions anyways. Lucid here, trying to get going once again. Nice bounce off 620 this morning, but it was the same story in the pre-market. Gets absolutely flushed into the open, and earnings to come. We get some price cuts, but obviously.
Well, I mean, they're still very expensive, Brendo, so you have to really wonder what their total addressable market is. I mean, it's not that much. You got price cuts between 10,000 and a half to 12,000 and a half, depending on the model. They report tonight, and something tells me it's just going to be another tough one. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, just reading, 82,400 now will get you a Lucid Air Pure. That's down 12 grand. I mean, does 12,000 open up the door for enough people to buy one of these things? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, the top higher end ones, as we were saying this morning, 138,000, 125 from 138,000. So I don't know. Yeah, tough one, I think, guys, for Lucid.
He'll fill you.
So
I'm getting tired.
I'm in the other one. The other one's
Get
Rivian.
this man a coffee.
It'd be nice if I was in Lucid when we're talking about it, but I'm not. I didn't trade Lucid. Hey, I got rid of this line. Hold on a second. Let me just. I have deja vu right now because I would swear I just got rid of that. I had a 625 line in there, and I don't remember why it was there, and now it's here too. So let me remove that. That should have been drawn at the bottom. I don't know why I drew it at the quarter, but anyway, 620 was a bit of a wick bottom. That is just bizarre. Anyways. I like Rivian a bit better for how it held up off the bottom today. It doesn't mean it has to work for a bounce play. I just couldn't find anywhere that I liked the dip buy on Lucid. It was just like Palantir in that it was a flat bottom break at 660 at the open. And if that's where you were looking, then congratulations. It wasn't where I was looking first, so I didn't have it. That was your only chance unless you waited for the lower high in here. If this had been at a more reasonable, if it was at 6 even, I think I probably would have been long into VWAP here, but man, even on a bounce play in Lucid, like that's bounced from 618 to 638 as the market's gone from bottom back into the top. It's not overly impressive. Kind of worried about this stock. Like it's got a decent short interest, but when everything else starts to squeeze or starts to bounce, like this does absolutely nothing. And I don't wonder if it doesn't need to like take out the low to get people out and then catch a bit of a bid. So let's, the $5 level could just end up being one of those that gets down there and there's enough capitulation that it does a real run. Because I've been waiting around for this to go squeeze mode. I think it feels like for weeks at this point since that first time with Saudi Arabia, and it's got a 41% short float. Like you show me a name that has a short float over 30% that didn't have a good week last week. Like everything that was a squeeze play gave you at least 1 or 2 days yesterday with the exception of Lucid. So you can will it, I can want it to go and then want the squeeze play and want it back above 7 and how great would an 850 breakout or a $9 breakout look on this stock, but man, does it not want to go up at all, which is frustrating because at this point it's so far down, unless you short it at the open, you almost never seem to get into that play.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're lowering the prices of their cars on something that they're not even making money on right now. Yeah, people, it's like, oh man, look at this picture here. Like these ruins, like that's my daughter. You've never seen, it's so crazy. I can't wait, Neil, when you go to Rome, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I was trying to find, some people sent me so many different pictures. There's this one great sandwich shop I was trying to, oh, here it is right here. Yeah, so someone said to me, what's up to Crypto Sonar if you're watching? You said, hey, if you ever go to Rome, go check out Al Antico Vinaio, their sandwich shop. So I did go there, and I did check this out, and hopefully you can see. There it is right here. Look, my bullish shirt, we went there. Lineup was like 20, 30 minutes long, so we went there again the very next day, and I was able to get a sandwich there. It's absolutely fantastic. So feeling a little bit of ways right now as we sit back in here into the close, but I just feel like Lucid, look, I mean, although you love the car, the Dream won awards and everything. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, and you do have the PIF Saudi fund coming in and probably going to be buying this name up. But let's wait to see what happens here into earnings. We do have the bottom of the day here at 550 of the day. all time, I believe, right here at 550. That could come into play tomorrow. I think it's a very risky proposition to sit there and try to hold something into earnings for Lucid. I'm not sure what to expect. I don't like the. It's one thing when Tesla cuts the price of their cars because they're just cutting into their margin, so it's fine. They can figure out how to do that. You know, sell more cars, squeeze the margin, make the same, if not more, end of the day profit on the bottom line, right? But if Lucid, if you're not already making money on your cars as is, and then now you got a problem selling them, I just find like that's not a recipe for great success there. So LCID, I am a little bit nervous about the report, and we're just going to wait to see for tomorrow. Anything up here, 8,850 is probably going to be a short, but to sit there and make a prediction before you see the numbers is pretty tight. So I'm going to wait to see what comes through for Lucid. The only name that I want to buy in any EV space right now is Tesla.
Let's talk, Yell, back to the upside in a big way because they're bankrupt, right? So $1.50 worth of a squeeze here, better part of $2 back to the upside if you missed it. It was actually Sunday. They finally file for Chapter 11.
Yeah, the less than truckload, let's call them shipper, blaming the union here, saying that the union kind of forced them out of business because of the demands were too high. The union firing back, saying it was the C-suite executives who were mismanaging money. In any event, this morning they came out and said they're going to pay back the $700 million that the U.S. Treasury Department loaned them. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, it's an interesting model. I was mentioning this morning, I was reading a bit on the weekend about it in the sense that if as you saw in that note there, a Home Depot or a Walmart or a retailer of some sort has less than a trailer full capacity to send out somewhere, they'll call in a Yellow or another of their competitors. But a difficult business, especially in these times, guys.
Yeah, like it's an interesting model, and it sounds all very logical. There's extra space, then you get these kind of non-full truckloads, but you have to think about logistically, like how hard it is to manage something like that and to make it efficient. It's problematic, and they haven't necessarily done a good job of that. They're going bankrupt, so it's not like I'm saying anything. It's just obviously true at this point for them, and it's not fun. It's a lot of jobs at stake in this situation, but I was just waiting for every single pop to short it. I was already out a couple of times. I had an accidental long in the pre-market as well, but I was already out a couple of times in the pre-market when this started to go, and then after the open, it was much, much more simple to trade it after the open because it essentially pushed right into the pre-market high and then flushed to 220. I did hold some all the way to break even, and that was just holding like the last 10%, and then it popped back up and pushed right up to Friday's close, or at least close enough to Friday's close, wicked that high, got to the aftermarket level, and then now I'm sitting in that short. It's a lot easier after the open. In the pre-market, it was tricky. There wasn't as much quality volume as well, but it's a decent upward trend. If there is a squeeze this afternoon, just to point it out, and it's pretty obvious by looking at this chart, if it gets over $4, there's been a brick wall in front of 450, so maybe if I show the daily chart, this is a little bit easier to see. Yeah, so if you get above 4, above 420, it's had all kinds of trouble into these levels on the daily. That's 475, that's 425, so smack that in the middle at 450. Anything nuts happens, and that's kind of the money spot if it does push to the upside. I'm not really thinking about the long anymore at this point. There were some great, like last week, there was the 330 buyer on this. I'm not making this up, but like for 3 days, you weren't here, but like for 3 days in a row was like the freest money trade. Watch. We had it every single day that it did it. So 330 here went from $1.50 to $1.95. And then the next day at 330, it was this move. It was from $4 all the way up to like almost $5. And then the day after that, you had a late day push. And then after that, it wasn't as big. I think that's kind of done after officially filing for bankruptcy. So I am looking to short any pops in Yellow this afternoon. $4, $4.50 are the obvious levels.
All right. Yeah, I wrote down 270 on the sticky note. Obviously, it broke through that to go up to 340. I just want to talk about AMD real quick, man. We've been really managing this one the whole time. I thought we were going to dip through, and I was actually waiting for a 115.50 break down into here to see if we can get more there. But you guys saw me take this early at 10 o'clock. That's a 119. That's out 116. $118.75. That's $3 or so there. And then we reloaded it right there at 118.50, got it out at 117.70, and now we're well in the money. I just want to give everyone an update because if we can get back up to this like 116.90 or so, this is a 200 period, then we will short some more there against 117. So just updated here on my current AMD position, which is now $2 in the money, but it's AMD. We're gonna have to wait for that one. I just wanted to give everyone a quick update there because I don't have any trades on yellow or anything really significant as far as sort of a meme stock today. We don't have AMC on the board. They're coming up with earnings, of course, tomorrow. We did go long there. We dumped out some when it broke 12. We talked about that. That seemed to have been the bottom. We did hold it all the way back to here. Now we're gonna wait to see if AMC can make a late market move as we're basically flat on this stock, just waiting to see if it can get going. That's about the end of that. And you know what we didn't look at all day today, and I don't even think on the midday show they talked about Carvana much.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, so again, not really a big move today. I mean, I guess, it's a good move in stock land, but for this name, maybe not. 46 down to 43, that's pretty good, right? So $3 and now trying to figure itself out as well. So we're gonna have to watch out here for Carvana maybe in the afternoon, but just want to give people a couple updates there on some slower moving stocks.
Talking about investing. Let's talk some EV stocks here. Downside as well initially. I just pulled up Nikola because there was this note. I mean, the four CEO in 4 years? Yeah. Something like that, announced back on Friday in their earnings. If you zoom out a little bit, you can see they reported going back to the end of last week. It's been downside ever since, 350 back on Friday, all the way to $2 here today.
Yeah, and Rivian reports tomorrow. We know that they added Waymo's former CEO. I alluded to this on the video on Instagram. Clearly here with intentions for autonomous driving. We'll have to see what they report tomorrow. But last time around, they beat by over 1,000 cars, Brendo. So if they can repeat that again, I think the market will like it. Yeah,
that's one to look forward to coming up. Just a quick heads up. DTSS just breaking through $1 right now to the upside. Huge volume spike there as that happened.
So while we're talking about, I suppose, EVs, I'm going to get a couple out of the way because there's two breakdowns that I'm probably going to be involved in, but one of them's EV, one isn't. If you can see what Mullen's doing, it's not necessarily rocket science. I just feel like this is stair-stepping, and if it gets under 10 cents, it could absolutely fall apart. But the last time it did a flat bottom break, it was pretty solid off of 13. It kind of holding 12. This morning it held 12, and now it's been basing out at 11 for the entirety of the day. So if I see that, I'll take a shot. It breaks, I'll try to get like 99 or 95 or something like that on that name. I think it can be a good one. I did mention Rivian. The second we came back on, this pull right back in here into VWAP, and I had just placed a bid. I'm like, I'll take the long VWAP, give it just underneath, and see if it can break out this afternoon. If the market goes, I like the gap fill for Rivian, but my stop's underneath 24.10. It looks like it has a chance. The hold VWAP here while the market's, because a lot of names just pull back, and this is kind of holding VWAP for now. Watch out for Tesla. Now, I actually was thinking Tesla over 250 was where the short was based on what happened this morning, where it turned up at it would bounce off 50 and would get to 52, and then it would flush. So I thought the short would have been breaking 250 and then getting back into these pre-market levels and then short Tesla back into 250. Instead, it's just turning right here at 249.5. And if that gives it up to VWAP, I feel that Rivian probably going to be a quick in and out for me. Only been in it for like 20 minutes or so, but it hasn't moved much, and this market seems like it wants to pull back.
That means new position. But okay, so we put on a new position here. So we put on something here for Tesla. I want to go against that 250 area right there. If it can hold out, great. If it doesn't, fine as well. So let's just wait to see here about that. We'll put on a very, very small starter position here. And then if we zoom back in a little bit, we talked about that 250 break when that happened earlier. It was a little tricky in the pre-market. It didn't break at all. I mean, it went down, I think, about 50 cents, made its way back up, then broke it. When it broke it, when the market happened, we came all the way down there to 46, 40, almost 46 flat. So can that happen again? I think so if the market does give it up. We do have that top right here. This is the kind of trading that I'm prone to do at this time of day right now, is you're just going to try to put the odds in your favor even more now. Like that is 249.60. So if we come back up into this area, we'll put on some more shares. Then we'll get out if it breaks 250. It's a pretty simple trade there. We've already come back and tested. You went all this way from 243 all the way here to 249.50 and stopped. So if it wants to do that again, fine. We'll start a little position now. We're in about 20% of what we want. If it comes back up here, we'll take the next full fill. I really like Tesla, and I was explaining this. Sharif asked me earlier about what was going on there in Rome. Did I notice any kind of cars or what was going on? And I honestly saw 2 or 3 Teslas, period. You can walk on the street of Toronto right now and see 3 right now, just on Bay Street. So I don't think they have the right models for Europe. There's a lot of small vehicles. This is in Rome. I didn't travel outside where it's obviously more open road and things like that. So I could see Teslas being more popular there. But if they ever got a small form factor like that Tesla 2 or something, I really think this stock can really moon from here. And I know we're going to have Daniel Shea on. She probably thinks something similar. I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity for Tesla, and they're the only ones right now making money. Well, again, people are gonna at me, but they're pretty much the only company that's actually making money here in this space.
I think Li Auto has positive margins.
Li Auto, okay, but
Li Auto has actually, I think it has close to the least.
The Chinese ones, they can't bring the vehicles over here. So so I just feel like for right now, there's going to be competition. I mean, competition is coming super fast for Tesla, but I still feel like we're okay holding that position. So I'm waiting for Tesla to dip down a little bit more to buy it for my longer term. But here we go right now. It's coming back up to 249.15. We're getting ready to get some more shares. Just to give you an idea, I want to get them right here, 249.60. So if it goes back up to that top, then we will get out of that. That's my opinion here for EV stocks. And then we wait for tonight, man.
Yes.
Lucid, then Rivian, and then Mullen.
That could be... Yeah,
when does Mullen report?
I don't even know when Mullen reports, but I just feel I have never seen a company reverse split, be 10 cents, reverse split, and get back to 10 cents this fast. But I wanted to, before we go back and go to fake Brendan, Micron, all the chip names are really weak today. I don't know, Fabian just said fake Brendan in my ear. So
Is that
I
know
what you mean, Fabian, but it was just hilarious when you said that in my ear. I'm like, real Brendan's right at the desk. But Micron, Nvidia, these are both kind of weak. Micron's right at the absolute bottom. This gets nasty if it breaks down beneath 68.5, down 1%. The market's at the highs while this is at the low. So if we fail from this high, it just feels like a short. I want to short the pop here. If it gets into Friday's, this is Friday's support level, 69.5. I want to short pops in there. I saw in the chat some people were saying, look at Nvidia for a short. I had Nvidia off the 450, and the way back in off 450 now looks like pretty good. So I guess I could do that, but I just like Micron because it's weak. It's down over 1%. Nvidia's, it's worse than the market, but it's still green on the day. And I just feel as if Micron being relatively weaker, if there's a pop, I'd rather be shorting into that. So let's go to fake Brendan.
Yeah, rundown brought to you by Trade Ideas, real-time scanning and alerting used on the desk by everyone you see on the show. See what's moving in the moment. Check out the QR code, bottom right corner of the screen, guys. Take advantage of this if you haven't. Great deal, 20% off. Trader TV 20. Shout out to our friends over at Trade Ideas.
There you go. There's fake Brendan. And someone said, why no Intel for me? James, Intel is red on the day. And I think it could be good, but it is... Like, look at the range on this one. Like, Micron was trading and trending to the downside. Intel has been back and forth off 35 more times than you can count today. That's my 15-minute chart. But if you pull up the 3-minute, how many times has been up, down at the 35 level? Just over and over and over again. And it's like a little barcode, up 10 cents, down 10 cents. I'm not sure how to read that on this. If it breaks the low, I get, like, that's at least a trade if it breaks the low. But as far as shorting a pop, maybe VWAP. Micron just seems a little bit better if I want to short a pop here because the market's at the high. And the reason I'm saying short, like I want to short a pop, is if we fail the high, I want something relatively weak. If we fail the high of the day and come back down and start testing and down toward the lows, then I'd like something at least relatively weak instead of fighting a strong stock. So it's just a little bit I don't even know what the word is, but it's a bit of a mess on Intel. It's not really giving you any clean or clear direction. I don't think it's worthy of the trade.
I got a little bit of FOMO here on Tesla because it just came real close. Like I don't know. Again, sitting here is what it is, but I was waiting for the fill at 60 when it just hit 50 and stopped. So I'm going to take a little bit here closer to 50 right now if it does come through, and then wait for some more at 60. It's the same amount of shares. My price is going to be that good because, again, I'm kind of giving it up a little bit here just to make sure we get into something. I'm not using a whole heck of a lot of shares here. I still feel like it's 235. We're caught in the middle of the day here. So we don't need to really be, leveling into this. Well, like basically pouring into it at certain levels. I'd rather be sort of leveling in just to make sure that we get the trade. And it's just off here. It's just off 250. We've hit that bottom. We touched it again. And then right there, we just came in one more time. So I feel like this is going to be something that where the odds are in our favor for this trade. Hopefully by the time we're all said and done, we're close to being short at around 249.40 or so right here. So giving this about 60 or 70 cents upside to get stopped out. And remember, it's for me, it's all about, for all of us here, it's all about risk management. And if you can't manage your risk, maybe I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know Neil and I definitely preaching risk management here. And I mean, that's to me 60, 70 cents worth of risk to at least get back to VWAP, which would be 247. That's $2. Probably we'll take something out at 248.50. Probably not going to get that choice. Here we go right now. But I like this trade. Let's just see if it continues to work. Did I expect the market to be right back at day's high again? That's right where we are right now. So that's part of the equation here as well. Hoping that the market does come back in. And what a good out that was on Apple as it started to go back up to the upside. We shorted this 183, 182 breakdown into 183, shorted it, then really hammered it. This is the number one stock here today. And it just continues to want to go down, I feel like. Bouncing off VWAP. I just got out at 178.50 there for $5 or $4.50. And now we'll wait to see it just touch 179 and fade it out again. So I still like Apple short, down 1.8% into what is right now market kind of collapsing here. Market going to the upside and Apple not having a great day coming back in. And then once again, man, that's what's all about this. It's all in the sticky note, man. Amazon long, Apple short. If you only had two trades today, those are my top two stocks with AMD, which again has been a monster, especially on this reload right there. Remember, I was like, we missed this first one right there by literally 1 cent. And then we had to punch a little bit less. So if we would have got that, then we'd really be laughing. But let's wait to see if AMD can't make that move all the way back down. We're still short here at 118.60, just $2, $230 now in the money. Okay, Tesla's starting to go upside now. It's, the market's trying to pull back because I'm seeing a lot of these other names falling down. Tesla's not falling down, so we're still up here. We're right at a go zone right now for me on TSLA. So hopefully the go zone is downside, although I am a bull on the stock. I explained that. But for today, for prop trading, Neil and I, flat at the end of every single day. So you got to keep that in mind. And again, I just missed another fill up there at 70. See, if I just waited for 60s, then we'd have a much better average price, and now we'd be ringing the register a little bit. But let's see if Tesla can come back down. 249.14. It's a trade that I have on. Everything else is an older trade.
I got to chuckle at something in the chat here for a second. I'm going to get to a couple of things, but that's a good one. Hello world. I see you in there with your best rapper alive.
Vanilla Ice.
Lil Wayne.
Oh, Lil Wayne.
I guess, you're part of the inside joke around here. That's obviously not true. Nothing against Lil Wayne, but I mean, come on. The best rapper alive. That's a good one. He's great. I'm sure he wouldn't even say that. But a couple of things here. I did say I had two breakdown trades, and both of them are on penny stocks. That if they happen, they happen. I've been sitting there waiting for them all day long. This is TTOO. This would be the double bottom. This would be the potential gap fill. I think there's room to 19, let alone 16. So if it breaks 24, I'm just getting short underneath. It's at 25, so it's close enough that it could happen. Rivian's now holding for it, but I just looked over at Meta, which, I mean, at one point, Meta seemed like it was going to be like the strong play this afternoon. I want to chuckle because of whatever it was that happened when it got up to 317. Like that was nuts. Like it was breaking out stair step, and now it's weak. The market's at the highs, and it is stair stepping down. Meta feels like a short here. Like you have this rejection above 16 into 17, and then you can't even press the highs here. I'm going to short this into 15. If that loses, I'm going to short it at 16. Once it's above 16, I think you give it up because that would be too bullish. But for the market to be at the high, and this is sort of stair stepping down, after that ridiculous move off 310. It went 310 to 317, and now all of a sudden can't seem to catch a bid. So
Did we find out what the story was there?
I didn't see anything on Meta, and this is. Usually you wouldn't see a chart like this on Meta with nothing happening because it was cruising off the bottom, looking super bullish, breaks the 16 level. You're like, this is going to be the runner. If the market goes, Meta's going to be right there. And then it just wicks the top and rejects. So without knowing anything in specific, I just say this is short the pops, first into 15. I'm trying to get 314.5. And if it breaks down here, if 313.15 goes and the market heads lower, I think there's a short the pop situation here on Meta. I'm going to start in now. If it's above 615, I think that's an easy out. Just maybe give it like a couple of shekels above so you don't have an even dollar stop. But other than that, I like this Meta to the south side. There was something else I wanted to get to. It wasn't Tesla. It wasn't Square. Someone had said NEO was moving. Oh, I want to go back in Nvidia.
Tesla's trying to break as well.
See, I don't know. I feel as if Tesla should
down.
not get past. If it breaks 250, I'm still looking for the short above it because I had the 250 long that was failing up here. So if it breaks 250, I want to let it get into this 51, 52 area and then try to put the short on up here because that's where it just flushed in the morning. And if you were just tuning in, the new CFO, that's what caused the initial move to the downside on Tesla. Whether or not you think that's warranted, it's just what happened. So try to respect that price action. But it's been weak for most of the day and only now coming back. I do have an offer to get some out of Rivian. But this is, maybe Rivian's just not moving. It's bouncing off VWAP, but these bounces are like 10 cents. And it's now done it a few times. I'm looking for it to break out of this channel and give 20 and then more. It just doesn't seem to want to break the channel. But I think that's because the futures are trying to figure themselves out here at this top.
What's up, health is wealth. Yeah, we may, we are about 10 cents offside on Tesla. I said my average price will probably be about 240. It's at 230 right now, so 249.30. We were talking about 249.40. Again, if this trade gets busted, this trade gets busted. I mean, I don't, this makes sense to me to take this. It's a weak stock today. It's weaker than the market. The market's at highs, which is, giving me a little bit of pause for worry. Again, it just looks silly because of where this is. Like if I had only had one mark here, then it would look a lot better. But that's my average price, and I just did this on purpose, averaged into it. And I did, the only real bad trade was probably right there at 25s. We could have waited a little bit more, but I just didn't want to miss the boat in case we did flush down. And now it looks like it does want to take that out. So this will be about a 75 or 6 cent hit if it does take down 250, right? So let's wait to see. If it does come back in, we do have some support here at 249, possibly at an even dollar. So we'll take a piece out for 30 cents. Don't really want to do that, but if it does come down, fine. And then we're always going to respect the 50 period, which is at 248.75. So if we get that coming in, see now it's back into flat. Like this should be roughly where we're at, but we're not. So hopefully it comes back in just a little bit and gives us this fill. We already short AMD, which is 250 in the money, but all my worry now is on Tesla. It's a new position. We've given it to you. I'd like to, give some profitable trades here. So let's see if it works. And again, if it doesn't, man, it's a life of a trader. I want to thank Ashley for coming through from Dallas. She came through today and she told us all about this and how she's been watching us and really learning about that risk management and things like that. You brought some Timbits over there, which we found out were also called Munchkins as well. So thanks to Ramin for that.
I kind of don't like that name.
Nah, neither do I, but I guess it's like sort of a mini, mini donut there. Anyways, shout out to Ashley. I didn't have any of those, but
I did. I mean, obviously.
NKTR ready for a bounce off $1. There's been a few. What was that other one? DTSS.
No, there's like 3 or 4
I
of
think
them.
it's DTSS broke $1. So here's a new one. It's just going now. Brennan brought this name to our attention.
I forgot it reports tomorrow, and there was just a question about Upstart.
Sure, let's go. What?
So Upstart reports tomorrow.
Oh my God.
After the bell.
Oh, after the bell.
And this is probably, I don't want to say it's because maybe Carvana, but this might have been the biggest squeeze. I'm looking up at this chart. Like I feel like this is the best squeeze name on the year. Maybe not on the year, but certainly in the last few months, because I think some things have gone from the beginning of the year. But this went from, in just 3 months, it was a $12 stock and it got above 60. It's been pulling back, but still 37% short. And the question was, what do we think about their earnings? The problem with squeeze plays is it's almost as if, like if it's been running into earnings are the thing that deflate it because you have to then justify the run up with the numbers. or sometimes you can start a squeeze after the numbers, but this wouldn't be starting one. It's a continuation. It is at a monster level here at 52. So this might be a trade for how's about now-ish. But if you look at the last, like that last push here, like the big breakout was 40, and then it got to 60, it pulled back to 52, and then made the high. So 52 has been like a local support level. I mean, forget about earnings. I'm kind of looking at this right here, right now, and saying, if this takes out 52, this is a flat bottom break today, like this afternoon on Upstart, and then we can worry about what happens after market tomorrow. It's SSR, so there's a decent chance that if this breaks 52, you can have all the stop orders in you want. It doesn't mean you're going to get a fill because you can't hit the bid without an uptick. But when you put that question in there, and I looked up and saw my chart, I'm like, wow, 52 is a pretty big level on Upstart. Maybe we get there today and there's a potential trade. But it's more fun to trade these when they squeeze to the upside. Clearly, there hasn't been much of a long at Upstart the last 2 trading sessions. So I wouldn't be fighting the long going into earnings here. The 52 break looks pretty solid.
Uh-oh. It's Tesla.
Oh my God.
All right, well, there it is, man. We told you that my price should still be 40s or 50s. It would only be 40 cents in the money, but here it comes. We just took a piece out there at 10s because it bounced at 10s. Now I am waiting. There it is. Yes, sir, let's go. It's not a lot of money. We're trying to get a little bit more if we can, of course. So let's see if it flows through a little bit here for Tesla, hopefully coming back into the downside. Now taking down 249. We just got out at 249 flat there, 249.02, sorry. Now we'll wait to see where it does pull back in. Tesla trying to get going. I mean, you can see that we have a little bit more shares. Not a little bit more. We got the position that we wanted, not the greatest price on it. So hopefully it will come back in just a little bit more than this. But we'll take a little bit out as the market, again, just now bouncing off the 50 period right there. So this is the thing, like people will say, well, you know, you wind up losing on that Tesla trade, but you got to take something out when it comes back in for you. And so that's what it did there. Now, can I now predict what the market's going to do? I mean, I wish I did have that, prediction ability. But for right now, we're going to wait to see what happens with Tesla here. Hopefully this comes back in, and we will be able to get that break. I mean, right there, 240. This is where I'm bidding again now, 248.80. So if it does come in, actually I'm not bidding there, 240 because I canceled it. 248.80, I put a 249 flat, we told you that. Hopefully this will come back in and then give us that fill, and then we'll be a little happier. Shout out to my friend again on that one. AMD still waiting for 116 bounce. Let's look at something else. Amazon, a great long from 139. Right now trying to barcode a little bit, 142.60. Oh, did you mention the short float on Upstart? I meant to look at
37 point
right, okay.
something. Call it 38. 37 and a half.
Yeah. Oh, that was Uber. Oh my God.
It's
Looking
still
at it, I was
really
like, I don't
big.
see that. Okay. So, yeah, that's an interesting name. For
I
sure.
forgot they were this week.
Me too. I didn't see them on our board. They must be.
I don't think they might not have been on our
It's a
board.
big enough name to
but
be there.
I
But
feel you want to during earnings season. It's almost like you
Yeah,
want like a
37.
separate watch list for anything that has like a 15% short float.
post-market the 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow.
Because
Market cap of only $4 billion.
it's not that big.
It's not that big. You know what?
When it goes, it can go though. Man, it can go.
I know we talked about that SoFi trade.
Holy Coinbase! What?
SoFi's $8.7 billion. Okay. We talked about that SoFi, not 930, that's a shame. We tweeted that out on the Friday before we left. We had a little thing there about SoFi and about that, possibly looking into that. It did get, what, to $12 there, SoFi or so, which was a
Oh,
great.
if you pull up the 15-minute on SoFi,
Yeah.
$9.16 and $9 even are actually been really good
Here, as
support
close as
levels.
I
I don't know if
got,
there's a
20
chance to get that today.
Yeah, there's 1180 on their break.
Just going back.
Yeah, that's right. It's right here. What did you say?
$9.16 and $9.
Yeah. That was right here today again.
Yeah, it's a weird price, but
Yeah.
that's where they buy it.
So good opportunities there on SoFi. There always seems to be good opportunities to trade SoFi, to be honest with you. So watch out for that. Oh, by the way, here come the hot step. Because Tesla coming back down to the downside. We're now 50 plus cents in the money on the short. We're just going to wait for that price of 80 right now. So hopefully it'll fade back in. We could take some out right now. You know what? It's just bouncing off 240. No, why am I doing this? No, Sean. All right, fine. No Sean Moreno. There's a blast from the past.
Oh, what a
Denver
bust.
Broncos.
What a bust.
No Sean. I had one good fantasy year, maybe two. Didn't he get hurt?
No, but he was literally like the number one
I
back coming out
know.
of college.
Yeah. But anyways,
The
no
reason,
Tesla, no cry.
The reason I'm not happy about it is because I think I had the top pick or something in our fantasy league that year.
You know that
I drafted him, and then I named my team. You need to know No Sean. like something really cheeky, and then he was a huge bust.
Very
and-
original.
yeah, I know, and it's always the worst. Like if you name your team
I hate
after a
Googling
rookie,
those
and then your
names,
team
yeah.
is crap, then everyone gives you exactly what you deserve, which is ridicule. So thank you, No Sean Moreno. Anybody that makes it to the pros is a fantastic athlete, and then we get to complain about them as grown men playing fantasy.
Yeah, like they didn't. How do you not cross that goal line? Like you only had 5 300-pound like monsters trying to
Those
attack
dudes are freaks.
Oh, man, it's not even worth
I
talking
grew up
about.
with a buddy of mine, and he played D1. He's a defensive lineman, and he was a complete freak of nature
Yep.
in high school. And he goes down south, and they're like, "You're not remotely big enough."
No, of course
And
not.
so he adds like 30, 40 pounds of muscle. He ends up in the CFL, and like this
Ouch.
guy, like D-line, it was ridiculous. It was a defensive end. But the fact that when he went down there, it was like, these guys are so strong and so ridiculous. And he's talking about guys that didn't even make it to the league.
Yeah.
And like, I remember him in high school and when we were growing up, and like, he's like the strongest person I knew. And he couldn't even hold a candle to
The
these
NFL
cats
is
that
a
are in the
different
NFL.
beast,
Like, they're freaks of athletes. Like, look at The Rock. Like, he could barely make it. He's a big, strong dude. But I wanted to get to Coinbase is strong. Like, wow, Coinbase. I did not see this coming. If you look at what's been going on with Bitcoin, now my Binance chart's kind of not loading.
Boo, Binance.
Thank you. Anyways, Bitcoin has been making a nice bounce. It's pulling back though, and I just noticed it started pulling back, and I saw where coin got to. Friday's close 87.30, and we just wicked 87. I don't wonder if coin makes another stair step. Sorry, if Bitcoin makes another stair step down, if there isn't a reversal play here over there in Coinbase. But I just saw a couple of people mentioning Coinbase, and I didn't realize it had made that big of a recovery. And then my gut reaction is usually, is there a pullback off resistance to be played here on coin? Maybe an 87. Might have missed that chance because it's already at 86.50. So that might have been a missed opportunity. And someone had said, what's the deal with Nikola? I don't have much left in Nikola. I have a trailing stop essentially right here, like Friday's low, just above 240. So I've held it to like, it didn't get to $2, it got to 210, but my trail was pretty much at 240 to see if it would make a fresh low. I might look for a reload if it fails this area, but nothing here. There's other names that I like in the EV space. Although I'm a little bit disappointed in Rivian. Rivian felt as if it made a significant enough bottom. There's your wick bottom, there's your stair step up. I like the next stair step for potential breakout, but with the market not taking out the highs, it's gonna be trouble for it to go. If it gets through 24.50, I might consider adding to it on strength, but it's just going sideways. It's been in the money 10 cents, out of the money a little bit less than that, but a bit of a disappointment here. And I look over at Lucid as well, and that's doing more of the same thing. Like they're trying to break out, and maybe it's Tesla's fault. Like it could just be that they're loosely following Tesla, and if Tesla breaks out, then they can go as well, and Tesla's just hanging out underneath 250. So I like Rivian here. I picked it over Lucid, but it's got to go more than 10 cents to get exciting for me.
All right, very kind words. Thank you, Mr. Sam, there in the chat. Yeah, look, success is just what you make of it, right? I mean, it's like I consider myself to be successful that I can go home tonight and coach Little League with my kids. I feel successful the fact that, you still have full health and still be able to do a job that, you really enjoy to do every single day. Sitting here and trading for me, I missed it like crazy being there in Rome. I mean, in case you don't know, I was tweeting pictures, watching the show and stuff. That was only one day though. And definitely thinking about it all the time. And I feel, blessed to be able to sit here and do this for everybody every single day. So I want to thank you again for the kind words in the chat. And yeah, let's just keep on rolling, man. I mean, this is what we're doing. I mean, look at this Tesla trade. We're just piling it on again, right? Adding some more cash in here. You will have negative days as a trader, that's for sure. But you got to stick with what you're doing and just be passionate about what you're doing. That's, I've been lucky enough to, with the abilities and everything, been afforded to be able to do this for 22 years. And it's just, it is what it is. I mean, I hate that saying, but honestly, it's like, you got to be able to do stuff that you like to do. And I feel there's so many people in this world that don't get that opportunity. So that's where I really feel blessed, is to be able to do that. And then, like I said, to be as involved. Like this weekend, we have a tournament. I'm not even here on Friday. Obi's going to be filling in for me on Friday, and I'm, away at a tournament all weekend with my daughter. So it's like, that's just great to be able to do that and be able to be here with everybody and just showing, how I'm trading and able to make a little bit of money here, and having a good time, with Neil and with everybody as well, and everybody there. And it is tough to trade, and that's the one thing that I was talking to her about, is that it's tough to trade when you're live here on the show. But she sat right here, saw everything that we're doing, and was like, wow, wow, this is truly something, you know, and I'm proud of that. So I want to say thank you to everybody for watching the show again as we, you know, continue to come right back and, you know, put some damage back into this market and raise the trophy here today. So hopefully we can be able to keep our positive net here today. We don't have any losing trades on. That's not true. It's AMC pending right now. You know, this is the one name that we've lost on here today. It's a cup of coffee waiting for this to blow up. If we can get back up here, then we could be flat on the trade. You know, lose right there, that's 22, that's lose 10 cents. The best we got was make 6 cents. So lose 10, make 6. So we are a cup of coffee on about 40% or 25% left on this position, waiting for AMC to go up. I mean, look at this Tesla trade, for example, right? We just keep on getting a little bit out. This trade could turn negative for us. We could get out right now. Obviously, we don't want to do that, but this could turn red. So we have to watch out for this. I'm looking to get some more shares. We just got another 249 fill. Remember, we were initially 31 short. So these fills are only 30-cent wins. This is not like ring the register, oh my God, Tesla's tanking. It's not doing anything. And when you notice a stock not doing anything, the best thing for you to do is really to not do anything. And again, I know that kind of sounds ridiculous, but if it tanks down, great. You know, we'll hold. I don't have any more bids now. So hopefully it can come back in and that's fine. If not, takes out 250 and we continue to go from there. Palantir, I know Neil's still holding on to that one. I think this is worth holding on to as well. Possibly you could get some sweep calls. And we have Danielle Shea coming on, so I want to actually talk to her about what her thoughts are on Palantir as well. I think Brennan's
in a few minutes, I think.
Exactly. Brennan's going to get that, 3 o'clock. So she's going to talk all about her position there on Palantir or maybe what she's thinking. And that's another great opportunity. You brought
What's
up
the short
Upstart.
float on Palantir?
8%, I thought it was.
On
And you brought up
7%.
Yeah, 7%. So someone brought up Upstart, and you covered that. I just think there's a lot of opportunities in this market, man. We talked about DraftKings buying those dips and so on and so forth. So
a couple of things.
Yeah.
'Cause I forgot to say something about Palantir, and I did get Upstart when it broke that 52. So I'm short 89s, 51.89s. I got a bid halfway to the dollar and then to the next dollar. But there was one thing I wanted to mention. I've been loosely saying like multiple times about how there was a big seller at 20 on Palantir. So here's the weekly chart on Palantir. Like it's not an average, it's not an insignificant price level. If you look at when this made its top at 40, 20 was pretty significant support level for Palantir. And then when it broke, $20, and this is back in 2021, like it just hung out there holding just underneath 20 before flushing. So this move to the upside was kind of always trying to fill in the gap to the 20 even level on Palantir. That's why I think that's going to be a really difficult level to get past. But if it gets past 20, I mean, there's like the next level's up. You're talking 27 and then 30 in terms of resistance. So it might be difficult for it to get through 20, but I feel like it's going to be worth it if, in fact, it can get there. So it's a good level. I'm interested to hear what Daniel has to say about it. 7% short float. I feel like it'd be more exciting if it had a bigger short float, but it doesn't matter. We've seen Palantir move dollars in either direction. The volatility on that stock is absolutely tremendous. As I said, I was just an Upstart. I haven't added to Meta. It's into that 315. I should have a bid in front of VWAP because obviously I'm going to take something out there if it gets there. Just realized that I did not bid out in front of VWAP. But there's the rejection of the 15 level, which is what I was looking for to add to it. The market is at the high, so I would always have, I mean, you trade with a stop anyways, but remember, you don't want to break out the top and then hold something which isn't, like I wouldn't hold this to 316 just because I have a resistance line drawn there. That's just way too far away for a scalp trade. I think you've got to give things a little bit less room. So it just rejected 315 here. Now I want to add to it so I can get my price and then work the downside of the trade. I still want to be able to think short at this resistance on the NASDAQ and the ES. So if we start breaking out, I do have Rivian. I'm really just holding on to Palantir. If we start breaking out, then I want to join something that's strong. But when we're at resistance and not moving a lot, shorting off of those highs makes a little bit of sense to me. Upstart was already a weak name. We can go over that again at a later time. And, Tesla's not moving again, is it? I want to short Nike soon.
Tesla's moving a little bit.
I'm keeping an eye on Tesla mostly because I think maybe it's holding Rivian back a little bit, which could be a trouble. I haven't gotten the breakdown in any of those penny stocks. I'll let you know. You'll see it pop in if I get Mullen. If Mullen comes in, I'm going to have this order tomorrow, the day after that. I'm just taking the 11 break whenever it happens on Mullen. I just think an 11 break, 10 break. I'm going to have both those.
I'm still exhausted, but it doesn't matter. How I feel as opposed to how I'm trading. Let's get it going, man. Barbecuing it up again. The wife wants to know what we want to do for dinner tonight. I'm not going to be. We don't eat till after the game. The game ends at 8 o'clock or something. Maybe another barbecue. Yeah, you got that right, Jameson. Oh yeah, that's right. What's up with this? It is
another one.
And
Another one.
plus
Another one.
I mean, there's Tesla again. We just reloaded this at 60. So there it is right now, 45 cents in the money to the downside. I mean, let's go. Let's bring this, man. Tesla all of a sudden, just in the last half hour, has now ramped itself up to one of the more profitable names here. And that's that right now. Let's keep going. Hopefully it can tank here. I'm just scalping this out. If the market's going to hang around VWAP and just do these dances, then whatever, man. I mean, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Another piece out right there on Tesla after the other short coming through. So let's just stick with this, man. Hopefully you can keep on printing. But we just got another piece out there at 20 off of a short at 60. Remember, our out is at 50. So if we break through that, then that's 40 cents. We just go 1-to-1 there. It's not a huge trade. It's just we just keep on shorting it and then getting out, shorting it and getting out. Eventually, if this market takes, I mean, this is the risk of the trade. If the market takes out these tops, which it's looking like it wants to do, and I'm bullish on Tesla. I mean, if this is not anything about the company, I've already explained where I think the runway is for Tesla there in the smaller form cars. Let's just wait to see what happens here for today, though. Trying to keep on bouncing off. And if you're just joining us now, here's 250 right here. I mean, so we're going to short that, right? Bounces off there. Just come to the screen a little bit again, Ramin, thanks. Bounces off right there at 250, makes a move $3. Then hits it down, makes a move down $4. Then we bounce off again 250, then that move goes down $7. So now we have another opportunity, but if the market goes, and here it goes. Now it's going right back up to the upside. So this is probably, I'm not going to break this long, but there we go, hands off. Hopefully this executes soon to get out of this Tesla trade. And there it is right there. So just like we say, we'll congratulate on the downside. There's the flush down. Tesla now small. I'll just say all of a sudden it's a good stock, and it turns out to be an L right there as Tesla and the market still starting to go back up to the upside right there. So maybe the 250 break. There's been many times when a level that I've supported like this has broken. I did not look at that. Look how easy that reverse is. Did you get the reverse? No.
I'm not in Tesla. I just got out of Meta, and if you look at the out on Meta, like the second it stops out at 315, it goes instantly another 40 cents up. It happens like that where it just means you picked a good stop level, generally speaking. Like if it flies away, then you pick the right price to make a decision. And if you're wrong, the decision is to get out. You can always decide to flip. I just find if you're going to flip from long to short or short to long, you should want to do it in advance. You should be really convicted in that direction. It's not an automatic thing. If you reverse every single trade, you can get burned. Just ask it was Apple 180. I mean, it was like a couple of months ago, and that was ridiculous. Palantir, the 20 level, was disgusting. If last week, if you tried to reverse the short to long when there was like 1 million shares on the offer, you got destroyed because your 99 short filled at 05, and then the long came right instantly out of the money, and they just kept going back and forth washing you. So I don't always think you should auto reverse. But I mean, I just got out of Meta and it instantly started going further.
Were you short?
I was short Meta. It broke 15. I got out pronto. Upstart's still holding underneath for now. But if it can break back that previous local high, I'll just get out of this one. I do still like the short down here. It just might not be at this moment. I might need to see it fail, get back underneath 52. But I haven't stopped out yet. I'm giving it to the quarter here on Upstart. We teed it up and hinted who might be coming through. And she's locked and loaded and ready to go with Brendan at the desk.
It is Monday afternoon, our favorite time. We'll talk some options ideas going forward, going into another busy week as far as earnings are concerned. We get some inflation data as well. Danielle Shea, VP of Options over at Simpler Trading, back with us. As always, good to see you, Ms. Shea. There's a ton to talk about. We'll get into some of the earnings names that are coming up, but I want to get your take on this. I threw this out there for the masses. Explain this FANG over effect that you're describing in your notes here today. I mean, I think we all get it. It's a spin on a hangover, but the market itself might not agree.
Well, whenever you look at FANG earnings season, we typically get a lot of energy and exuberance going into these mega cap tech names. And then generally after the fact, like after a big party, when you've had a lot of fun, you get a little bit of a hangover, right? So it's pretty typical for me to look for the NASDAQ to pull back post earnings. And when you're looking at what the charts of Microsoft, Tesla, and Apple are doing right now, I think that that is what's starting here.
It's a good look in the sense that anyone who has not participated, and there's a lot of people, let's be honest, in this move up so far this year, finally might be getting an opportunity in some of these names that we're speaking of. Again, Tesla, Microsoft, this one, Apple, getting back already into some interesting levels here. Give us your take. Which one stands out the most? Where are you looking at them? And what's got you excited here?
Sure. So when you're looking at the NASDAQ, I'll just start off with the NASDAQ futures. I mean, we've broken below 15,500. And so I think the next buy opportunity is going to be down here at 15,000. I think that's a really good key psychological value and a nice spot to look for support. But it's going to depend on what these primary stocks do, because you have Apple that's really breaking down. It's got to hold up above 174, 172 if this is going to be a buy the dip opportunity. And if not, it's going to keep falling. Tesla, if you look at this one, it's just barely clinging on to that 250 price point. If it can hold, that'll be great. But here's the thing. You can see the trend is shifting. It's below the 50 simple. I've got candles turning red. And if it breaks here, it's going to fall hard and it's going to fall fast. And then you have Microsoft. Microsoft, I have been eyeing it for a buying opportunity right around 329, but this one has shifted trends as well. You're below your 50 simple, you've got these red candles, and you can see that ledge that it's clinging to. So, all three of these, I would love to come in and buy the dip post earnings, but right now I'm seeing bearish signals, and if these go, the whole NASDAQ is going to go.
Yeah, it's a great point and a cautionary note and a worthy one for everyone watching at this point. Give me your take on today specifically for Tesla. We had that CFO note this morning, but it seemed, very much weaker than the rest until, just an hour and a half, 2 hours ago.
Well, the price action that we're seeing is better than the alternative, especially if you're trying to buy the dip, right? Because you're seeing those buyers come in right around that $250 price point. But at the same time, that support zone has been broken, even if it was just on a wick today. So I'm looking at 250 and I'm saying, hey, it's trying, right? It's trying to hold the zone, but I don't have a huge amount of confidence in it just because it's already broken. You can see that this low that came in on 626, that's a pretty key and pivotal zone. So, if we gap down below there tomorrow, then that zone will be broken and probably flush down into 220. Wouldn't want to see that happen.
But yeah, no kidding. Let's talk about what is to come this week. It's going to be a busy week on the earnings front. Once again, a lot of people with eyes on tonight. In fact, with Palantir, a retail favorite to come after the close tonight. What are your thoughts here on PLTR?
Sure. So when you look at a PLTR chart, this is one of the favorite patterns that I love to see is when you can see a stock that's, gotten a bit clobbered. And then the last 2 quarters, do you see how it had these really nice gaps post earnings? That's really what you want to see when you have a turnaround story here. The stock, kind of bottomed out at 584. But you had a 2.9% gap up, 19% gap up, and then this is really beautiful. The breakaway gap that, never came back to fill. So I think that the expectations are high this quarter. But in good news, the market maker expected move is $2.53. So that means that if it moves just what is expected to the upside, it can break through this major resistance up here around the $20, $20.50 price point. And then, it's really just continuing its uptrend. But of course, it has to actually have that positive result and continue going. Otherwise, I would say, if we see a pullback tomorrow, look for a buy the dip along with this positive trend.
More from the EV group to come, Lucid, Rivian coming up tomorrow as well. We've talked in depth on the strength of Tesla and the leadership of Tesla when it comes to this group specifically. Is there another place that we can go? Lucid with some other headlines this morning on the price cut front. Is there another place we can go for a trade here?
So when you're looking at Lucid from a pure probability standpoint, it's rolled over the last 6 earnings reports in a row. You've got 6 gaps lower. So, I have to look at that and I have to say, how could I do anything other than bet on it to the downside, right? You also have a lot of resistance here. You have a resistance between 7 and 7.5. and you have a squeeze, which is consolidation, just ready to break out. It has less than $1 expected move, but think about it this way. Even if it does gap higher, which will happen sometimes on these tickers that get clobbered, they'll have one random quarter that'll be better than the others. Let's say it is positive. All it's going to do is trade right up into this resistance zone, which would be a good spot to short it. So I think that this one's a long-term downtrend. I think you stick with the trend, whether or not, you do it before the report or if you wait until after when it's a little bit more, safe. I think you just stick with the downtrend on it.
I want to get your thoughts here on Rivian as well. If you remember back a couple of weeks back, I guess it was a month or so now, Rivian made that huge monster move, got a ton of follow through as well, even after the initial move that came on the delivery numbers from the latest quarter that came out bigger or much higher than expected. If that is the same case again, it sets up pretty interestingly here for an option standpoint.
Yes, it definitely does, especially because this one has high short interest as well. So if you look at the expected move in the options market, that's going to be $3.23. And you have this squeeze right here, which is a breakout consolidation signal. So, it's trading at 24. All it has to do is get up above, 27, which is definitely within range. And then you could really see a short squeeze out of this name. So, typically in the options market, what you really have to be careful about is going to be the expected move and where you really think this stock is going to go. Where people get into trouble with a lot of these names is they'll come in and they'll say, oh my gosh, I think it's going to explode, so let me buy calls. But typically with a lot of these tickers, what I focus on doing is I just focus on selling puts, especially if I think it's going to break out to the upside, and I always do that with protection. But that's because the implied volatility on these things is pretty high. There's a lot of focus surrounding them, and after the earnings report, if you do see this short squeeze because you see it break up above this zone, then that's a good time where you can come in and buy calls after you have an IV crush.
All right, more to come on the economic front and macro front this week as well, with CPI and PPI later in the week. We get this non-farm payrolls print on Friday that for the first time was significantly below what was expected, to which the market seemed a little bit confused almost. We did sell off into the weekend, but today's price action's a little kind of back and forth. If, this is going to be the next stop as far as what is to be expected on the inflation front, give us your take here, both directions, positive and negative for the market.
So, I just think that the market's been a little bit shakier lately. Now that we've gotten through most of these FANG earnings reports, it just seems to me that it's a lot more jittery. So, the beginning of July, that's normally a pretty bullish and strong time, and news reports were coming out and not really much was impacting the market, right? But now that we have a lack of earnings reports from those mega cap tech companies to look forward to, I think that CPI could be a lot more damaging. So, if we have a CPI number that comes out that's not very favorable for the market, I think that could be a pretty good excuse for the FANG over to get worse and for the market to pull back. Now, if it is a really positive report and everybody's happy about it, the levels that I outlined in Apple, in Tesla, in Microsoft, and in the NASDAQ, that could make for a great buy the dip opportunity. So right now we're just kind of in this limbo where we're waiting on the next big news catalyst, and it's an if this then that situation.
Ms. Shea, we've waited a long time to get together like this. I hope you've had a fantastic summer.
I missed you so much. I hope you've had a great summer, and I'm so glad that you're back.
Heart emojis. I wanted to ask you about, you talked about the FANG over here, and we've kind of put N instead of Netflix, maybe being Nvidia. I've said sort of on the show here and talking sort of in jest that it was kind of, feels almost like a Ponzi scheme with this, because everyone wants AI, everyone's talking AI, and Nvidia's got the guts behind it, right? All these chips, everything. And I saw your, oh, by the way, congratulations on your new computer setup. That looked pretty nice right there. But, I look at the chart here, and if we can go to the Nvidia daily chart, it's just, what about this gap fill from 300? If you can go over here, Fabian, from 300 on this earnings play all the way up to 380. Like, what if we don't hold? Like, we still need to get down here, and I feel like that's going to be quite the move. But if you get to 380, does it not fill this gap all the way back down? And then everybody that's up here is kind of stuck. I think Nvidia has a huge story to tell. And I don't know if you want to short, get in front of this momentum by any stretch of the imagination. But, is this not really, I mean, you talked about Microsoft and some of the other ones, but is this not the biggest chip to fall? I mean, what if Nvidia does come out on, I think it's the 24th, and just says, you know what, I know we went from 4 billion revenue up to 11 billion on their last report, but what if it's a little cool here and then you start to get a little turned down? Isn't that really the next biggest chip to fall here?
Hey, I love the idea that you came up with on Nvidia, because this is a really critical chart. And I mean, this is one of the top tickers that's been holding up the market. What I will say about that gap is I actually think that it's still a really bullish gap. And the reason for that is because you have this breakaway gap post earnings, and then you have another earnings report coming up. And this is actually one of my favorite setups that I like to do, where I have a breakaway gap the previous quarter, and then I trade it long going into the next quarter. So, I mean, for me, I look at it and I see a bullish move. This stock also has, a pretty solid stats going into earnings. On average, it'll trade higher by about 8.36% during the 21 bar period going into this report. So, for right now, I'm still bullish Nvidia. I know you're really talking about after the report, but honestly, for me, Sean, it just depends on where it lands going into that report. Because let's say it keeps trading higher, it's up at 500. I don't think the gap fill will be that likely. Now, if we're down here and it's back at 380, then I don't know. Maybe you'll have to ask me again, because that's where it would get really dicey. But right now, I'm still positive on Nvidia, and I'd like to see this thing trade up into 500 before that report.
Yeah, before the report. Okay, that would be nice if that could happen as well. AMD and some of the other, smaller stocks here. We did just short Microsoft off 330. I like that idea as well. I think that's having a little bit of a hard time, but we'll see if this can hold it. I'm jealous of that FANG over. I think that was an absolutely fantastic call on that one. Still no update. You already got the F-150. You talked about that. So I guess there's no Cybertruck in your future, or has that been on the back burner for a minute here?
Well, just trying to decide what to do about that. And I think I'm going to have to make a decision whenever they send an email saying that ours is ready to go, because I still look at it and I don't know if I can drive it.
I don't know. I think that's one of the things. You have to sort of have that, I know it's brave. I don't know if it's brave early to drive that thing. I feel like people are going to be like, what the heck? Like down a residential road? That thing seems crazy. But apparently Elon Musk now has back problems. So I want to ask you one thing. Musk versus Zuckerberg, if that does go down, who do you got?
Oh, definitely Elon, for sure. I can't believe he challenged Zuckerberg, considering he's the one who's been training for so long. It has got to be some kind of ploy to get, millions upon maybe billions, millions of people streaming on X.
Oh yeah, what do you think about that name change there? I mean, I think, I know me and you, we've been talking, we use Twitter or X, I guess, as a main platform to, to talk to everybody. I don't know what to think about it. I think that they're going to be streaming. It's too bad it's not a public company still, actually, because out of all of these changes, I feel like now finally, Twitter was kind of boring to trade, to be honest with you, when it was in the market until Elon got going. It really didn't do anything for its whole entirety of its existence. And now all of a sudden, there's all these changes happening and we can't do anything about it. Do you get the feeling like I do that I think he's going to bring this back public at some point?
Oh, definitely. I do think he's going to bring it back public. And I mean, I've been a fan of most of the changes overall. I like the platform. I like to use it a lot. I think it's great for traders and, for people just in our space. I mean, I will say that I think we should do a test, and I should call my mom or something and say, hey, I'm going to make some X videos and see what she says. And then I think we'll know, like, why is this the name? I don't think the name is good, but I love the platform.
Oh, Sean, did you want to say goodbye to Miss Danielle Shea?
Sean just pieces out. He says, I have no response.
No. Neil and I were talking about that because it used to be like, okay, we tweeted a response or we retweeted something. Now what is it called?
They don't have anything.
Right, like we don't know what it's called, so I think this is just called repost. So, all right, Miss Danielle Shea, I gotta let you go. Thanks again for coming through, and it's always nice talking with you.
You too. Have a great rest of your day.
Ciao, ciao.
Great stuff. As always, Ms. Shea, VP of Options over at. We'll talk again soon.
Ciao.
No, I mean, but going back into Rome there, what a great great interview there.
I think you just still call them tweets. I don't think it's.
I think so too. I don't think
it's.
I'm
rocket
actually
science.
surprised. The Twitter, I think it's because it has such negative sort of connotations. Maybe Twitter.
Well, I know we've never.
But it's like little. Brendan's still in there. It's like little things. Like I'll still call. You can still call Facebook because it's. Google's Google, the parent company's Alphabet, and it's not the end of the world. Everyone understands that it's a subsidiary. So if you can use the adjective that you're tweeting something, it's really not rocket science. Because X, the whole notion behind X is that it's the everything app. So it's not just the platform. It's when it's payments and every video and everything encompassed. To me, that's X, and then like the Twitter's Twitter. So I don't know. I think it's an easy thing. You just sort of keep it as it is and try not to make things too complicated. So a couple of things I did not get. This is weird, but oh wait a minute. No, we just broke on Micron. So Micron just broke the low by a couple of cents. Remember I said I like this one if it can get through the bottom or give me a short to pop more than Intel. Intel, I'll show you in a second, but I'm going to get on the offer here. Micron as it's starting to go. Intel in that time ended up being the one moving. At that point, Micron was a weaker name, but Intel just dropped on its own off that 35 level. So maybe this is, because the market's at the highs. I mean, relative weakness is relative weakness. When I see it, I know it when I see it, and that's relative weakness here. Maybe a short to pop situation, but I'm into Micron as it just took out the low. The low was like 92, so I just grabbed 91s down there. And I was able to finally get a little something out on Rivian as it made the top end of the range without breaking it. So it bounced off VWAP, it got to the top end, got to 40, and then reversed back into VWAP. This market is not really moving much off of these highs. So looking for things that are breaking out or breaking down feels like the way to go. Micron just took out that low. And, I see a couple of, Maziar, apologies for pronouncing your name incorrectly. You just bought Palantir.
Did it dip down?
So my question is, and again, like everyone has their own different time frames. I know we know they report, but is this like a scalp trade? Is it day trade like what we would do? Or do you actually like this going into earnings? Always just curious, because the earnings plays are tricky in buying anything, making a bet going into earnings. That's just a tough game to play. You know the potential is going to be there. I haven't really seen much of a day trade on this. I guess maybe VWAP is a dip buy, but can't seem to get to 18. Look at the 10-cent range that it's been in the entirety of the time we've come back on. In an hour and 20 minutes, Palantir has moved essentially 20 cents.
Right. Like
Rivian's doing the same thing for me here. You just want to see a little bit more, but it hasn't happened. Meta flat top breakout watch. I haven't, that's not really you're saying like a local flat top. Meta's got a wide range. You have the 316 level from this morning. You've got 317 up top. There's potential if it can go. I thought it was weak given that wick that it did. Now all of a sudden it looks relatively strong again. It's going to be tough unless if it shows me through 316, maybe I like the long, but outside of that, I'm not sure. I did finally get a fill at 250 on yellow. It only took all day long. Okay, it only took half a day. It was at 115 to now. I'm being it's a little bit sarcastic there. It took 2 hours for yellow to get from 320 down to 250, but it just hit 250, so this one is still flushing. I like the 220 level. That was support right as we were ending the show on the short off of the 270, so I'll get a bid at 220 on Yellow Corporation. You got to find some things that are moving. That VTGN moving again? Is it really? VistaGen Therapeutics.
Not Vista.
What's weird about this is I can't remember a time when a stock was this insane in the pre-market going into the open and then this quiet. I mean, when I say quiet, it actually bottomed at 11 and got all the way back up to 19. That it only seems like that's not much of a move because it went from $5 to 60.
Here we go.
But it is kind of catching a bit of a bid here. Just remember how much this moved in the pre-market, people.
Okay, hopefully we don't get Tesla'd right now, but we have a new position. We've been sort of holding out to talk about it. Here, Microsoft. I talked about it with Danielle, but there's the short 330. Covered it a couple times, reloaded it again. We're only making 30 cents on this every time, but it just keeps on. It's doing that whole Tesla thing, so I'm getting like feels about this because it keeps on dancing to that 330. again, you guys got to trade your own book. Like Neil and I, we don't, we're not showing share size or anything like that. But if you're going to scalp this back and forth, and you know where your outs are, and it's really well-defined risk, you can realistically put any amount of shares on any of these trades that you want, as long as you can hold it, because this is up at a level of 330 again. If this market does fade out, Microsoft, as with the market, both 0.6%, and right now I like this position again. So let's just see if it can work out. Obviously, when you look back at Tesla, it's still at 250. It goes up 50 cents. We get stopped out there. But again, cup of coffee lost. Would have loved for it to continue to go down. We had to hold against the market. But now with this market trying to break back down below the 50 period, maybe we do get some consolidation we're getting consolidation, some continuation down here for this MSFT trade. And right now we're trying to get near the bottoms. I feel like even if we can get 45s or something like that, that's going to be a decent trade. But if you zoom back out, you can see there's not a lot of room back. I should take that back. But there's room to get back into here to 328.50, which would be $1.50 on the trade. It's just a matter of, do we think this market is going to collapse here into the close? Do I think there's not? Yes, sir. Come on. Now we're 30 cents again in the money on this trade. So there it is. We just got, no, we did not. Did we get a fill there? No, that's 75. Okay, so we're waiting. My bid's at 50 flat. So sorry about that. I thought it was at 60 flat. So it's at 50. Here it comes right now. Hopefully this will come in, and there it is, man. It's another 50-cent winner. We just put that on at 330. So there it is. Hopefully, come on. Yes, sir. There it is. Let's see where this one can go now. As we're spin the money a little bit here, trying to make some of that back. And, again, to have the luck to be able to sit here and trade every day, I feel blessed to do that. AMD right now almost $3 in the money. So you want to talk about a name that we've held out for all day. This is now a $3 trade club. We've already had multiple $3, $5 winners today. Amazon, Apple, huge trades. Hopefully this Microsoft trade could be it as well. And then here it is right now. Look at AMD. I was saying that we were going to wait for this bottom to come through. So here it is right now, and the market is just now passing the 50 period. I think there's a lot more damage here on this name to the downside. So let's continue to watch AMD here. It's already 330, which to me is I'm like, what? It's already
4 minutes till we get the early look on the imbalances.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's another thing.
The NASDAQ has literally not moved, which is wild. There's almost no chance usually that you hold this tight of a range into the final 30 minutes. Right. We usually make some kind of a break one way or the other. I think you want to be nimble enough that you have your outs, because if we break the top, there's a good run to 15.5. There's a good 30, 40 points, and I want to have some kind of a breakout. I know I would add to Rivian if it takes out 24.50, and I'm starting to look at Meta, and that 316 could be interesting. Nvidia is the chip name that I think can be the long. If there's going to be a long at the end of the day in a chip name, Nvidia is above 450, which is usually a good level for Nvidia, and creeping up toward VWAP. So I think that could be it. Palantir Palantir's not tanking. I mean,
is it?
It's not. That's really.
That's a tank.
That's not really tanking relative to what it was doing all afternoon. I don't know that that's necessarily a tank. I've been holding from earlier. My stop is underneath VWAP. It's a trailing stop. I think if it gets under 17.6, it could really maybe pull back in a little bit deeper. So that could be a short underneath VWAP, but you need to see it move first. A couple of people in the chat have mentioned that penny stock TTOO has earnings. Always be careful trading any penny stock, but I do suspect this thing could easily have a 50% move in the aftermarket. That's an understatement when it comes to something like this. Remember last week, this thing went from, it was a 16-cent breakout, and then we traded it day two, went 32 to 45. So it could be down here at 15 cents. It could be up there trying to break 50 cents, and a lot of things in between. So good luck if you try to play that. Just understand, make sure you have an out. And it's not everything in trading is comparing it to gambling. But when you're trading earnings, unless you really, really understand what's going on, nuts and bolts of the company, you are kind of flipping a coin at what you think is going to happen on earnings. So as long as you have an out, you can make the risk reward work. I've canceled my 24 breakdown because A, there's not enough time. B, it broke 10% off the bottom here. And once it's 10% away from my stop order, I do not want to have it just left out there in the ether. I never do that. So I've canceled my breakdown on TTO. I'll probably have to trade it after earnings, unfortunately, because I thought it could be a good one. So let's see if Rivian can make this breakout for me. I've taken one scalp trade out, and if it can break 24.50, this is a long I think has a chance to go late in the day here. It's been holding up every time the market dips. Now it's just a question of can it go a little bit. And Micron short, if it follows what Intel did, I think it's got a chance to start filling in a little bit of a gap. So Intel made a flat bottom break. And I have Micron in a similar look here that it has some room to the downside if it can flush. These two chip names have been weak all day, despite what you've seen from Nvidia. I mean, they're very different categories.
Yeah. Intel, they've all reported, I think, instead of...
Except for Nvidia. Actually, it's almost true because...
I think it's true. Micron reported, right? They reported
Marvell's kind of a smaller one. But Marvell reports the day after Nvidia. So, wait, maybe it's the same day. Hold on a second. Double check.
AMD's tanking right now.
It's the day after. So Marvell's the 24th and Nvidia's the 23rd. So those are a couple of chip names that are left, but everyone else is reported, more or less.
Nice. Okay. Just trying to watch out for some new plays here. I mean, I can't believe it's already 3:30. I guess because we had Danielle at 3, that was the difference there, why it feels like this was a little bit of a shorter afternoon here for us. Okay, so we talked about Palantir. Oh, someone mentioned Nike. Let's go over quickly, look at Nike earlier. This was right before, I believe, and... yeah, where's 110? I think these are some pretty key levels. I mean, the thing about Nike is I don't feel the same way as like I did about Uber on dip buys or Airbnb or anything like that. I just don't know about the retail side right now with a lot of expectations in China. I am a little bit nervous about where Starbucks, that was see, that's the only thing I think about China. Starbucks, Nike, anything like that, even Apple. We talked about slowdowns over there in Apple, which is why we hammered that one short. And again, like I said, by far the number one name for me today is Apple, not even close. And you know, you're just going to look here again, that Nike, it's got to hold this 105. I think you buy it down here against 100, hoping that you can get, you know, at least some goods there. And then if you come back up into this 128, 130 area, maybe on possible upgrades for China or something like that, then I could really see Nike continuing to work a little bit. But at the same time, you know, this is one that's a little bit sketchy for me. So I think we'll wait for Nike. I don't necessarily want to buy that on any pullbacks. And then the other name here that we've been going over and over and over again, still haven't bought more of this name. I don't really know what I want to do here with Disney. This is another one that just keeps on bouncing off this bottom. I feel like we're going to look back. I don't get the same feels about like DraftKings at 11 or like those low bids on Palantir because Disney doesn't have the ability to just like go up 50% in a month like some of these other stocks do, which makes them look great, right? Like a DraftKings off 11, you could say that's a decent opportunity because you can always get out at 10s or something, give yourself some more risk. But if you're going to buy Disney here at like 85 or 86, maybe the bottom's 80. You know, can you get back to 94, 95? And even if you do, then do you sell it or do you think the recovery's on and then you wait for a little bit more? And that's where greed starts to hurt you a little bit on this name. I like this for a longer term hold. I'm not 100% certain.
On Friday.
When did they report, by the way?
Well, let me check
or
that
have
a second.
they even?
But just because you weren't here,
yeah.
Disney off of this level. So it made a double bottom on Thursday.
Oh yeah, it's in 2 days, Disney.
85.40 was like a double bottom on Thursday, and then on Friday it tagged that level and was like a god.
That was the best.
Like it was ridiculous. I mean, sometimes something like this, it's like more technical than anything else. Not that somebody knows something going into earnings. Maybe somebody does. But like when you see a bottom like that, it was nuts how it reversed and then was super, super strong. And then it kind of ran out of steam later on. But it'll be interesting to play off of that level because they report on Wednesday.
Okay, yeah.
And then so just a week before earnings, you see like some serious buying off of a support level that's been a good one off 85, and they were buying the crap out of it. When I say they, I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist, but you know I just sort of mean large buyers were picking this thing up at 85.40. And it's worth paying attention to. Let's imagine a scenario where you get to trade off of that level the day after they report on Thursday. I think you want to be paying attention to Disney at that price, whether you like it or not. Come on, Rivian, move, because we're 333, and we're going to get to that point where I no longer think this is a add on the breakout. Like if it just bounced off you up again, if it breaks out here, I don't necessarily think it's going to add because there's not enough time for it to go. That's a bit frustrating. I think it's got a real chance. Maybe tomorrow, hopefully there's a gap fill 24.50 because there's so much room for Rivian here if it can make a breakout. Really hope to trade it tomorrow at this price, but that never works out that way. You look for a break and it never happens all afternoon. Typically speaking, if it's going to happen, it'll happen overnight, and then you'll have to trade above that price tomorrow. Steve G, thoughts on CEI? CEI was pretty good last week. I'm not going to really have, I don't think I'll have anything good to say about CEI after the dollar fail last week. So if you were trading CEI, you probably remember that it was a good trade on the failure at $1. Now it's breaking back down. So I always look to see where was it before when it was failing $1, like what were the levels? And then you pull it up and see this. Oh, so when it was failing $1, it had support there at like 78 to 80. Well, it just broke that today. So I see nothing good on this. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised I'm not trying to short this one on that flat bottom break. That was free money. Maybe even a short tomorrow getting into the 60 level. This is another reverse split name. Reverse split, look at the downtrend on CEI since the reverse split. There's a reason hedge funds lean on this trade. Something reverse splits and they short the living you-know-what out of it, and look how easy it is to short the pops. So if you're long in stocks like this, kind of notice what happens to them 8 times out of 10. I know some of them go, but most often than not, it's going to end up looking like this, which is not very pretty for CEI.
So here comes another shameless plug for the great time that we had here in Rome. The Pantheon, right there. We went inside that. What a amazing place that is to go in there and see all the history. No idea how they built this thing. It's absolutely amazing. Free structured into the inside, into the Oculus there. It's absolutely incredible. And again, we can't talk about, you know, my reasons for the show and what we're doing here without the family. And there we go right now. Traveling with your kids is such a blessing because they're of the age now, 8 and 11, where they can really understand everything. And like I said, and we need to now get passports. I'm getting advice on getting passports for the kids. My father born in Italy.
Yeah, getting Italian passport.
Yeah, exactly, right there. So anyways, great times had by all. Now that the show's getting on in time here a little bit, I am feeling a little more jet lagged, but hey, we're still here, baby. We're putting on all the good trades, hopefully.
It's better coming back than it is going there. That's what I found.
Yeah,
I
but
found
the thing is, when we got there, like, we right away had stuff to do. Like we
You
were
have
just,
to, though.
Yeah, you have to. You have to get the time over with, and it's just like. But
I got
you know
great
what?
advice for that jet lag. And this was from, our producer who
Okay.
travels a lot. And he said,
Oh right, what was it?
he was like, don't drink alcohol on the plane.
Yeah, that's fine.
Try to go to sleep right away so that you sleep on the plane because everything's a red eye over there.
Yep.
And then you get there, had a nap, had a croissant and a quick cappuccino, and
Yeah.
I was good to go that day.
Oh, yeah.
Although I slept, there was a baby literally behind us, and
Ouch.
I was sleeping through it. My wife was unable to, so I was in better shape than she was.
But that's nothing, man. The flight is 9.5 hours to Italy. What is it to
sleep in.
Paris?
I don't remember.
I
It was
couldn't. I didn't
7
sleep. I didn't sleep.
If you could sleep on the plane, I think it helps a lot. Obviously, that probably goes without saying.
The
Sleeping
imbalance.
helps.
Did someone have that?
It was a small.
Was it? Okay.
It was 270 to buy.
To buy? Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a small imbalance to buy. Not too much there.
We can review. I mean, I'm getting out of some Microsoft.
I'm getting some out of Rivian again here because it just made another high. So first it was 40. Now it's kind of busting 45. So I'll see if I can take some 45s out. It's going, but it's the first like quarter move. I want it through 50, and then it can continue. This is the one we've been sitting off VWAP the entire time. If you look at what's happening in Lucid, like Lucid's been doing kind of a similar move, just a bit better on Rivian, but they're both bouncing upside a little bit here. I see Tesla not really doing much. I like the chance that it can break that 450, and if there's an imbalance on it, all the better. That would be great. Kind of, if it's in the money, we talked about this with Max last week. Well, you guys know this with the imbalance. Like if you're in the money on something and it happens to come out in your favor, well, you could see it break the level and then go another, like double the move that it just had. And you can put a trailing stop on it so that if it comes out the other direction, well, you just get out, but don't give it all the way back into VWAP. So I'm going to, now that I said that, move my stop because I don't need it to be under here. I'm just going to now trail this probably right around break even, right under this 2430 support level, which would be break even.
Here we go.
Rivian. It's that late in the day, so you got to make sure you're preserving the profits when something's in the money.
I was almost just literally going to do the same thing there, which was a good idea. Microsoft right now, 70 cents in the money on a pullback here for MSFT, just coming in right to VWAP, just touching that 31 level right there. So let's put a bid now, take something out. I was sitting a little bit lower than this, but again, now that VWAP is right here and we're just kind of like, okay, maybe we'll just take it. I was waiting for down here 330, 329 flattish, but if we can get this fill, we just shorted it. We'll take a piece out right now and see if we can get it, and if not, then we'll slap a fail on it, but I feel like we could be able to get this one to come back in a little bit here and then print that downside for us on MSFT. So hopefully that will work. We do have a couple names reporting, obviously, tonight. We've talked a little bit there about Palantir, Upstart the next day, Rivian tomorrow as well, aftermarket, and then Lucid. So I think Lucid, I know we talked about this with Danielle Shea as well, but I think this is in trouble. You know, there's going to be a short float on this as well. We bounced off $6 today. Good for that. But honestly, at the end of the day here, and again, this is not financial advice to anybody. You guys take risks if you want to. I feel like you don't want to get into any of these names, especially on this side of things in the EV space until you do see that report. It's going to be a wild mover here in the aftermarket. So stay tuned for that. And we'll have all the earnings coming through when Pratt has a 4 o'clock show. But for right now, that bounce off $6 right there, that's going to definitely be something to watch, see if it can hold that 6. Will be interesting to hear if the Saudis want to get any more involved in this name. But, you know, the last time it ever bumped up was right here, and that was on that exact news, right? And I remember Rivian ran into the 20s. That's held those bids. And now Lucid just, you know, on the negativity from that rumor, it actually off of that went all the way back down to all-time lows of 550 again. So, I mean, this name's going to be in trouble. And again, you know, take your own risks, take your own shots, but that's going to be a difficult one for sure to watch out for.
What was scary for me about Lucid was anybody that was watching last week, anything that, in the last 2 weeks I'd say, anything that was a remotely decent squeeze name had a good run. At some point in the last 2 weeks, if it was a squeeze name with a high short float, it had a run. It did a good move, and it started to look like it was breaking out. Lucid did all the consolidation in the world, then put in a lower high, and then broke the bottom.
Yeah.
Like it's... For a 41% short float, nobody seems to want to, like, you just can't squeeze. Like, the shorts are just in ridiculous control of this stock. And when it comes to a short float like this, it needs to break something out for it to get going. And at this point, that now is at $8.50. Like, it needs to get to $8.50 before you think this can squeeze. And it's down at $6.50. Like, that is
yuck.
Ugly. Like, it would have to go 30% just to get to a squeeze zone where maybe some shorts that have gone in recently are nervous about it. That's not a recipe for success there. Tesla seems to be going well. If it's going, then why isn't? No, not really. Still at 250. By the way, when I said I would short Tesla at 252, it's way too late in the day to do that now. That was just off the morning highs, and I was only saying that because when I was long the 250 bounce, that's where it was rejecting. So that's where I wanted to short it. But we're not going to get there in enough time to be able to put that trade on, unfortunately. Just what can you do? It's 340 already, which is crazy. Meta's broken 16.
Oh, really?
Barely. Ooh, this might not be bad for like a late day runner. No, it's close enough to 350. I would love to play off 316 for the imbalance trade. Like if it comes out of bid, try to play the long off 16 into 17. Or if we're already at 17, play the short right in front of 17 at 349. And then look for the pullback. But that dollar range is enticing to the upside for Meta here. I'd much rather it be 347, and then I could go long, look for the imbalance to go my way, and then have a very tight stop under 316. But this market still can't take out the top. Punching in the highs, I don't know. If it's going to go, it's going to go. Micron just broke 69.10. Everything is going to be a tight stop at this time of day. So I thought there was a lot of potential. I could have started scalping this out for like 10 cents or something, but to me, either it breaks from here, gets to 68.5 and then 68. That's the breakdown I'm looking for. And then we risk about 20 cents on it. It could go $50 if it goes your way, but tight stops galore when you're trading off of the low of the day. This could be another one tomorrow. I like a flat bottom break. And as long as it's around 69, I'll keep looking for the short to fill that gap in. Because I think that's a $2 gap on Micron. Great if it holds it, but I'm going to be looking to go short off of this tomorrow if I can get that move underneath 69 even, down into 67 from where we were going into a Thursday. Good level, that long, I guess, off 67, but Micron, it just smells like a short. Since it reclaimed that 71 resistance underneath, I'm looking for it to fill the rest of the gap.
We'll have to slap a little bit of a fail on myself here because AMD, again, it went right down into where we thought it would go, man. It went right down into that day's low there. We took that with 115.50. I mean, it's a big trade. I mean, those of you guys looking for these kind of trades, I mean, this is it there, this is it here. It's $3 in the money, but it was $3.50 in the money down there. And now we've had it go all the way back up against us. I'm still watching this 200 period moving average. So that's going to be our out right there at 116.50. So if it does take that, it's really 116.40, but 116.50 is an area of concern for us on AMD. If you're wondering why it's super quiet behind us,
Is that Obi?
Obi's here, yeah. Yeah, he's at the desk right there with Brankles.
Oh, I can't see him.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
It's because it's civic holiday
Yes.
right now here in Canada. So normally behind us we do have relatively full floor of traders. I think they're going through another hiring cycle right now. So you can send your, actually I don't know, do we have the thing there? It was Brendan at selectvantage.com?
No, it's Brandon.
Oh, Brandon, right. So
Brandon
the opposite
at
of
selectvantage.com.
Is it .ca or .com?
.com.
If you guys have the banner for that, we can throw it up here before we screw this up even more. But they are currently, we've had a couple
It
people.
is Brandon, though. It's,
Yep.
when we say Brankles, it's Brandon, the floor manager.
Yep, we've had a couple. I mean, Sharif used to watch the show. I believe Obi as well, and some other traders
Obi as
here
well.
watching the show as well. So get your chance to come through. Parsa Yanni Rami is.
Yeah, Parsa and Yanni.
is
Parsa's
there
still
as
on
well.
vacation. We haven't seen him come back yet. But
Parsa's just chilling, man. Where did that guy? That guy's
I'm
been
not
there for a
sure
long
where
time.
Parsa went on vacation. He's the one that got us these hats.
Went back to school.
I know he went back
I
to
don't know.
school.
Someone
He went
told
back
me he's
to-
on vacation.
He got us like these, which are awesome. It's like the
Yeah, SVB.
SVB,
Yeah. Silicon
risk
Valley.
management, because clearly, you've done a great, fantastic job. If you can say that you are part of the SVB risk management team,
Yes, sir.
That is obviously
Shout
a
out to
joke.
Parsa.
And clearly, it's a very serious thing. But with 4 minutes to go to the imbalances, okay, how many times is Palantir going to fail at the same high? It just failed
Come on,
again,
Microsoft.
1790. Cannot seem to get above that 1790 to break into 8. So once again, the stops get tightened here. And I'm not giving it back into 70. I'm now going to trail it out here just at 1780. Like if it doesn't want to break, then forget about giving it an extra 20 cents. I'll give it an extra 10 cents off of that high. Palantir, of course, reporting after the bell. I still feel like it used to be in the pre-market, but I could be dead wrong about that.
Has it been flat all? Yeah, nothing happened.
It's been all afternoon. It's been trying to break towards 18. There was no 18 break to be had. What are you going to do? But I'll get out at 1780 or underneath 1780 if it goes to said downside. You hit the cat, right? She's not here, but we can still do this.
Sure.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
Yeah, so yeah, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. But we just did get a great fill as well, so we'll go right there. There's Microsoft. I just put a 40 fill there. We got that off of 330, so another 60-cent win here for Microsoft to bring it back down a little bit. And now we can hold into the close, man. It's 346. We do have the imbalances coming out, and this is something again, man. Make sure you check out daytradetheworld.com if you want to join, the best and biggest prop firm, in the world. They unfortunately will not be able to operate in the United States, but that's that is unfortunate, but is what it is right now for that. So, but yeah, right now we're just looking at a move here. So we'll watch out. This will populate at 350, and we'll see where the imbalances are going from there. So I'm excited for it. Let's see let's see where they go. Hopefully to said upside not for Microsoft, but for anybody that has a long AMC. Someone was asking.
So this happened last week, and when someone in the chat named the Juice asks for something, then as a lifelong Buffalo Bills fan, I have no choice but to say the answer is going to be yes to this. So
Okay.
I'm sorry about this, Ramin. Can we get a Ramin like and subscribe video? That is a request specifically from the Juice. And every time the Juice asks for something, we say yes, Ramin. So the pressure is on you all of a sudden. And it's not to put you on the spot, but it is absolutely to put you on the spot. For that. It's a lot of fun. I would like to reshoot mine. Fabian, we've been talking about that for a while. Let's actually try to get that done this week, because I can't stand mine. I don't have mine on my board so that I can't hit it because it's so terrible. We got to get it redone. As Sean said, the imbalances are going to come out today. Every now and then, you might see a little something on a name that is reporting. It's pretty rare, but it would be worth looking out for something on, say, like a Palantir. The EV names every now and then have had some earnings, or not earnings, have had some imbalances. Rivian, good thing we got something out at the top, as it's right back into VWAP. It goes VWAP, to the local high for 20 cents and VWAP to the local high for 25 cents, and then right back into VWAP. So it's still barcoding. I'm not going to let this get past 24.30 at this point. Don't want that turning into a red move on Rivian. Still like the recovery it made, just wasn't quite able to push through that next level. Hopefully we can get that a little tomorrow. And white Bronco trade euthanasia. That's a good one. I remember exactly where I was during that, because I was watching the NBA Finals when they preempted it. It was the Houston Rockets in the finals.
Yes, that's right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, why are we looking at this? And then we're like, oh yeah, the juice was on the loose. Tough for Buffalo Bills fans, but obviously a lot tougher because it was a difficult situation. But Steve
He's still on the loose. He's more on the loose now than ever.
Oh, he is definitely more on the loose than ever. And most people don't realize this. He actually had a pretty decent movie career. Like, he's in a bunch of, no, really. Like,
No, I know. Was he on Naked Gun and all that?
well,
kind of stuff?
he did a couple of serious,
And he was in huge commercials. I mean, the guy was a monster.
he did some actual, like, action movies that would, you know, like, not like B-level action movies that you might see. I don't want to throw names out there. I'm not going to say he's as good as The Rock, but kind of like what The Rock would be in. Not like comedies. Like, there was one with there's a big fire. It's called Inferno or something, and he was in that. There was one on like a train where like terrorists on a train, like a Liam Neeson kind of film.
Right.
Like, he's in some stuff like that people didn't realize. And he's not terrible. At least he wasn't terrible. The juice was on the loose. The imbalances are in 3 or 4 seconds. That's right. I like the Bills. Ooh, I just got out of Rivian, so that before the imbalances came out, that started to tick to the downside. Lumen is a 4.5 million sell. Nothing over $1 million except for HPE and Lumen. That had an imbalance.
Oh, there you go. Apple set buy.
There they go. Now buy Apple. Palantir I just saw.
NASDAQ a little late.
Where did Palantir? Small buy in Palantir, 400,000.
Okay. So just to go over everything here, we already have our stop on AMD in case that gets worse. 116.50. We just canceled everything. We're gonna wait for that. Look at Microsoft. Obviously had a bid imbalance. We only have 20% left of this trade, so hopefully it does fade off of that. But it looks like it does want to take out some highs here. That is going to be Microsoft. And again, looking at the imbalance locator, probably was on there somewhere. I don't see it on here, but most likely a bid. Again, with Apple being a buy, Apple wasn't absolutely the apple of my eye today for sure. We put it all on the sticky note. It's the number 2 name. Number 1 name is Amazon, which is my number 1 stock of the day is Apple, followed by Amazon. So we are on here trying to trade as we preach a little bit. And we took the short in Apple real early, hit it to the downside, and there it was. Big trade for me, one of the biggest ones I've had, I was gonna say all month, but this is the first day I've traded this month, but including back into July as well. So that was really nice to see, to come back to that. And there's Apple bumping up a little bit. We're still gonna watch out for that 179, 180 level. Still love it, but again, what a pullback Apple had off 200, right? So it got as high as what, 198.50 there, and now a nice huge pullback actually for Apple. Probably a good opportunity to think about getting long if you wanted to start to build a little bit of a position in this, but again, I still do feel like there is a move coming down. The NASDAQ's been really super exposed here a little bit through earnings. Some great, some not so great. I just don't think it's worth making a move on anything until you really see those Nvidia earnings, because
last week on Apple, we were talking about where it would bounce to.
Yeah.
And the next significant level was like 177. If it breaks 177, then you're like, on the daily, you're getting to like 170 even. So if it can't hold on to this, I mean, 170 looks like a pretty interesting place to buy. If it gets deep enough, I mean, sign me up if it gets to the 200 period. I mean, they probably sign everybody up if it gets to the 200 period, which is 160. And then if you look at that same 160 level on the weekly, that's the 50 period on the weekly, and the 200 period on the daily is the exact same level. So I think everyone and their mother, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, a lot of people are going to be buying this stock if it gets anywhere near 160. This Lumen that has an imbalance.
I mean, my mom will be buying it probably for sure.
Maybe my dad will, my mom probably not, because she doesn't really.
Yeah, same as my mom.
Which is weird because my mother was a currency trader when she was younger. And my dad was the one that wasn't really into the markets at all. And now it's completely the opposite in their retirement. But I don't know, it's just kind of a weird sort of thing, because she was really into trading when she was younger. And now she just really doesn't care because she's retired and having fun with grandkids and stuff. So Lumen has an imbalance. And I flipped over here because 4.5 million with nothing paired off into a stock that's done 18 million normally would be significant, but it's not doing anything. So if this at 355 stays a big sell, or even gets bigger or stays at 58, I might have a look at this going into the close. There's no expected index action or anything like that on Lumen that we're aware of. So it just seems like a random imbalance there. Wow, that's a decent bounce up. I didn't see Intel on the imbalance locator, but that just came all the way off that bottom right back through 35. That's a pretty bullish end of the day. That's worth noting. You want to check out sometimes big moves like this. It's almost going green off the bottom on Intel. This could be a good sign for this one tomorrow if it can hold on to that 35 level, because it was one of the weakest names all afternoon. For it to get back to green would be pretty impressive. Let's get to the earnings boards, because we have a couple of names on here that I know we've talked about, but a few that we haven't even discussed once that are big time.
Yeah.
Underlay, Eli.
Eli, that's a good one. I never really heard of that one before. All right, Fox. I don't know. I mean, Under Armour's over there. I feel like this morning we really talked about, we talked about Lucid tonight coming through, and then Palantir. I mean, other than that, man, UPS, they just had that new contract with UPS settled, so we can maybe hear a little bit more about that if you are, a UPS shareholder or anything like that. And then is that Li Auto?
That's Li Auto.
That's Li Auto. So there you go. So that, you
Li
talked
Auto
about
pre-market.
another profitable name there. Global Foundries actually
So
on there as well.
That's an interesting
There's
one.
Tim Hortons on there
because
with
I
restaurant
own
brands.
this one, and it just broke both major moving averages last week. So
Okay.
maybe not the greatest sign in the world, but again, I'm probably never going to sell. Like I'm in it for the long term. It's not a trade or anything. And I bought it when it dipped to 55, and I had an opportunity not that long to take 25%, but I had long-term play. But when something breaks both major moving averages on the daily, it is pretty bearish. If they don't have a good quarter, I think you could be down back into 55 again. The only time we've looked at it for a day trade outside of when it IPO'd has been on earnings days. So this would be the one day tomorrow, although it was aftermarket. It was before the bell. But tomorrow, probably the only day we'll look at Global Foundries, and then maybe the couple of days after if it gives you a trend trade. It's going to have some volatility on it, which should be interesting. Of course, Palantir now breaks up. I mean, obviously it does. At 355, it breaks higher. It's still not breaking 18, so it doesn't really matter. Like I said, I trailed out at 1780. It's not going to break the 18 move anyways. Maybe we see that tomorrow. I find it highly unlikely that we don't at least test one of the major levels on Palantir after earnings. You can see what 16 is on the daily. It's also the 50 period. $20 was completely insane last week for resistance. We're going to see one of
There
those.
it goes.
We're seeing one of those to trade off of it tomorrow, I would assume. And if we don't, that's a disappointment.
It's funny because Palantir was a name here that I put on the sticky note that I talked about. You'd want to hold it all day to see what happens here into the close. So I should took my own advice there and just bought it off this 200 period and just held it because there it is right there, basically going back to day's high, sans the very, very open. This is the high of the day, man, 18 bucks. I mean, you hit it there. We went long and got out basically at these prices as well. So there it is right now. I don't know, man. This action is not necessarily setting up for... I mean, people just want to get long into this name. So I wouldn't look at this as, oh my God, that's a sign. You're still down today. It's down from the bottom, but so is the market. The market was getting down and then it, made the way all the way back up there. So we'll have to watch out for Palantir today coming through on that earnings call.
They're buying up Disney again.
They're buying up Disney. Yeah, I mean, I like that Disney call.
There's been buying in Disney since Thursday. I'm telling you, man, there's been buying since that bottom. And there's like strong program buying. It's weird. Because
right now you're going to get a big sort of
Huge
down
discount.
name there, a big name that's coming in that can have some catalysts to go up to the upside there with Disney. So I can see it starting to go a little bit. Most stocks are not near those big support levels that are bigger names like that. Sharif was talking about Caterpillar and some other stuff.
Yeah, this is like a value play here.
Right, they're gone. Like a lot of the value plays don't exist anymore. Procter & Gamble as well. So, lots of different names coming through one more time. Like here's Procter right here. We're still on Neil that whole time.
So I was just scanning because I want to see what Netflix is doing when Disney's running. That's high there.
Yeah, Netflix. I mean, here's Procter again, based out now near the highs. So there's a lot of names that are starting to go. My father was actually pretty happy about this one. We're in this down here, nicely done to the upside. But again, that's just another one of those ones that probably just holding on to it for a bit and see what happens with it. So that's P&G. Microsoft downside. AMD, people were wondering why I was holding on to that one. Yeah, we got out once it broke 50. But again, we were from here. So we still take $2.30 or so clean on it. Sort of got greedy waiting for that big move to the downside. We'll check out the imbalances right now, see if they flipped over a little bit here into the close. JP Morgan is still with a decent sell. Wow, 156 there for JPM. What a good move that's been off that bottom again of roughly 85, 88 bucks again. So JP, not recently, but those were some of the bottoms. Nice move up, and look at this one. See, this is another name. Like you want to buy the banks here when you're consolidating near the top. You got to find some value somewhere. That's where I think the Disney trade gets some juice behind it. So we'll wait. But there's J.P. Morgan, great little name there. The one bank that's I feel like's been struggling. Although nice to see 355. I was going to think it was maybe near 330. But there's Goldman Sachs. Okay, so off their report, they're bouncing up to the top. So that's really nice too. Trying to base out a little bit there. Some of these U.S. banks again, especially Goldman Sachs. I could see having a nice little run coming through, especially if the IPO market starts to steam up again. We saw Cava, the Greek restaurant, that really took off there, and there's been a few recent IPOs since then. Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, the benefits of that with a lot of their underwriting and trading. So I think
everyone's been saying it's supposed to pick up back half of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was just saying right there. I think it will, especially with some of those well-received IPOs as of recent. So that's it. As we get ready, only a minute left, guys.
Yeah, I'm getting out of the last position where it's just Yale. I just got out of it. I was just checking to see where Cava was. Actually, I mean, if you talk about,
I don't know, what did you
talk
get to
about
50?
well-received IPOs.
Yeah.
Like Cava, it hasn't been a rocket ship to the upside, but it made an instant bottom. Like the second day, you would have got it at like 36, 37, and it opened up at 42. It hit 58, and it's been just a series of higher lows and lower highs. It's been trending upside. So it's been a very well-received IPO. I thought it would be going down first before it went up, but it is less than 20 seconds.
Let's go.
I'm out of my last position, just punched out of it now. It has been a good Monday for the market as well. The market's almost 1% to the upside.
Here she comes to save the day.
Quietly, as Ramin comes in here with 4, 3, 2, and...
And that puts a close to what was a very, I mean,
the market snuck up on it right
did,
at the
almost
end.
1%.
Nvidia ran $3 right up at the end. We showed you guys Disney. Disney ran. Tesla got to 252. The NASDAQ made a bit of a breakout. We're probably stealing a bit of the thunder from Brennan there. But if you looked at some of those tech names, like Google closed right on the high of the day. We already mentioned Nvidia. So, and then Intel, which was one of the weakest stocks out of the tech names, that got back to positive late in the day. So there was a decent run into the afternoon. And of course, after the bell,
we're buying Palantir.
Yeah, like Palantir's not out. There's just, I guess, some people getting out in front of it for whatever reason. I never understand the people, like there's always an eagerness to start getting into this and make trades. Like, you could buy that and it could be at 16 in 5 minutes. I mean, who really knows? I'm not even sure exactly what time Palantir is supposed to report after the bell. If it is in the next couple of minutes, we'll definitely let you know.
All right, let's go over to the desk. Brendan's not even there anymore. Okay. I was going to say, let's wrap this thing up right now. So the NASDAQ, did hit that 0.83, followed by the ES, man, right here at 0.86. So some pretty equal weighted market levels here today, which makes a little bit of sense. We talked about some of the names back and forth. Apple sort of holding down everything today, and the NASDAQ being sort of lifted up by a Microsoft, by a Google, and various names like that. But hey, man, we're very, very excited here to bring you this aftermarket show because we do feel like there's going to be some decent sized earnings calls coming through. So, hey, once again, thank you for all the likes and the subscribe. Make sure you hit that. Tell all your friends, tell whoever you know has a YouTube account, get over here, hit the like, hit the subscribe. You can be part of this, right? We have lots of benefits here. Every single day the market's open, we're back here live all day, and including the after show as well. So, all right, man, it's 4:02.
Let's go.
Without any further ado, I want to thank everybody today. Fabian, Ramin, Sharif on the midday. Obi was here on the midday as well. It was nice to see Ashley visiting us from Dallas. Thank you so much for coming through.
Shout out Yanni right here. There he is. He's leaving. He didn't hear me.
He's gone. Shout out to Brankles, everybody that's been helping us one more time here today. And again, shout out Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you for all the moderation help on that one. But without any further ado, we're not going to shout out Brad because he's getting ready to go.
Palantir.
Shout out to Brad for the midday show. Shout out to what's about to happen right now. I'm hoping Palantir can go up. Oh, hold on a second.
I was looking for
Thanks
the
for
hat the
Prad
whole
today.
time.
Prad got me this a while ago. There we go. It's Palantir Day here on Trader TV Live. So let's go over to the desk. Thank you so much, everybody. Ciao.
Welcome, everybody. It is Palantir Day indeed.